difficulty, but we should be back up online here in a very short few seconds.
Yeah, you guys.
What do you got to do?
Hold on. Change your thing.
Yeah, everyone go to public. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be going live here again. Yeah, somebody click the end broadcast button. So like we have a broadcast button at the top and all of us can control it. So I don't know who got sticky fingers, but someone didn't want to let Michael continue on and talk. So we apologize. Thank you guys for whoever joins back. Make sure you guys share this, give it a comment. Make sure you guys can hear us in the comments.
We're just, where'd she go now? So we were talking about Michelle Latimer, and then that was one of the topics that was happening, and we did have Mike LaRock of LaRock Podcast there. Check him out. What's his podcast called again?
LaRock Life, I think. LaRock Life.
Yeah, check out his podcast, you guys. It's pretty awesome. Him and his wife do it, and it's all about relationships and stuff. But we're gonna get this going again.
Yeah. Just a personal side to my little co-host. Make sure that see that big red button in the right-hand corner. Let's all make sure we don't get sticky fingers. Yeah. I can't even confirm if it was me or not. I might have been dragging around something. I'm sorry about that. But
that button.
Yeah. All right. So anyways, let's get back to this. Let's get back to this because there are some more things that I wanted to say about that and kind of jump in for where Michael was talking about. And I think that is the entire thing. Like, for instance, my mom is of Métis ancestry and my father is Indigenous. And so I technically would be somewhere around the like 60 to 75% range of, by a standard of the government, I would be, 60, 75% Indigenous or whatever. But for me, I don't identify as Métis. I don't identify as anything but Indigenous. It's what I grew up with. It's where I'm from. It's who I was surrounded with at a young age, and I know where I'm from. I know that I come from Seacrest First Nation. I know my ancestors from there. I know where I come from, I guess. So I think that's something that needs to play into everything that they're doing, but at the same time, how do you guard that without feeling like you're gatekeeping and letting certain people in and other people can't come in? You know what I'm saying? It's a tough road to follow, but stuff like this is actually like what happened with Michelle Latimer is actually a good thing, because then you make it aware to other people that there are consequences for doing these things without properly knowing what you're doing. And I think it's important that those things come to light and we understand that better, so then there's not more people out there making the mistake of jumping inside and out of the hoop when it serves them correctly. But once again, I don't know her personally, so I don't know her intentions or where she was getting her knowledge or learning from. But that's just my take on what I would see as an outsider. So.
Yeah, and before we got cut off there, Mike called in, and then where this conversation was going, I think it was basically like token Indian, always having those jobs, for us, like if you're Indigenous, we're gonna save this job, and then some people use that even though they're not Indigenous. Just like Raymond here, like I'm a half breed. My dad's from Spain, and my mom's from Red Pheasant here, so. I mean, I don't know if I could identify as Métis plus at the same time. I don't know, but I mean, regardless. That's what people are using, that Indigenous card, even though they're not. And then it leads, I don't know, they're just taking advantage. And that's what she did. She could have been an advocate for us at the same time, because I kind of creeped her Facebook, and there's all this Indigenous stuff there and, fighting for our rights and stuff, which is cool. And, but at the same time, just, like a big wall of lies in front of it as well.
No.
Hey, you want to tune in? You gotta unmute yourself.
All right. Yeah, sorry guys. I don't know what's going on. I'm still lagging.
Oh, you're good. You're doing good.
Let's blame it on the full moon.
Right. Okay. The full moon.
It's the full moon. It's dig it. But yeah, guys, it's Haley Rose here, 17 years old, from Mosquito, Grizzly Bear Head, Lean Man First Nation. Junior Citizen of the Year here in North Battleford. A little bit about myself. And yeah, I'm back.
She's deadly and she's only 17. That's what she's trying to say.
But I'm not technical.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Haley, do you have anything to say about Michelle Latimer?
Oh no, thank you. I'm sorry.
You're pleading the fifth on that one?
I'm sorry.
Straight up.
Yeah.
All right, can you bring that wheel up?
Yeah.
All right, let's bring it up.
I'm playing this every time.
Ooh, that's
So,
a good one. You
It
see that
kind of
comment?
it kind of worked what we did tonight, you guys. I did have my phone number there, and Mike did call in, so it is good to hear from you guys. If you guys do want to call in, and yeah, let's do that. Let's spin that wheel. Where's the music? Spin that wheel.
Spin that wheel. I'ma make you feel. Yo, DJ.
Ah, reconciliation. Who's timing us right now? I'm
got the timer.
You got a timer?
Yeah.
I'm just kind of going off the timer on the. Here.
Mm-mm.
Reconciliation.
How do you say it? Reconciliation? I say reconciliation. Tomato,
I don't know. Yeah.
potato.
Reconciliation.
All right, you guys. The topic is reconciliation, and I guess that kind of goes into our last topic with of Michelle Latimer. Kind of going forward is I lost my train of thought on there. I had a really good reason. I had a good one. Reconciliation. Is it working right now? I actually hear a lot of things that it's not. And there's people that are lagging behind it and not doing what is told.
I would love to hear some guests on this because I think there are a lot of people that have a lot of different ideas about the term reconciliation, about what reconciliation is to them and to where it's going. For me, the term of reconciliation is just a term, right? It's a word. So how do we transform the word of reconciliation into our day-to-day lives of reconciliation, right? And how do we get to that point? I don't know. I don't have the answers about reconciliation. To be honest with you, I don't really vibe with reconciliation. I don't think that it's a term that is used by systems to make it sound like they want to come to an agreement or understandings with us when they don't really.
Hold
That's
on. Hi, you're live.
Hey, how's it going, Nathan?
Good. Who's this?
Colin Stonechild.
Mr. Colin Stonechild. The topic. Oh, you got to change that thing there.
Got you.
All right, Colin. Reconciliation. How do you say it? Reconciliation or
reconciliation?
Reconciliation. All right.
Yeah.
Let's hear your part on it.
Well, my thoughts on it right now, the intent of it at the beginning with the truth and reconciliation, but now as it's they've been using this word moving forward with First Nations. Myself, I find that when we start using the word reconciliation, it's a word of mistrust and it's a word of deception and it's a word of how do I put it? I don't know. There's lots of, the government has, rammed that down our throat, truth and reconciliation. And they've made a statement that they're not going to fulfill their commitments to us. So I know within a lot of the communities even the community that I serve in now, some of the mandates that the government has put forth with oil water advisories, infrastructure, and, funding, and a lot of these things that we deal with all First Nations, not just mine or yours or anywhere else, that, a lot of these fundamental privileges that normal Canadian citizens have, clean water, sanitation, housing availability, to where on First Nations, the Truth and Reconciliation had mentioned, even the United Declaration that they had mentioned that we live in a third world in our own country. You know what I mean? And yeah. I always said that the intent of it was great at the beginning, but now, a lot of the elders that I've talked to, they don't use that word reconciliation as a word of good. It's changed to something that's, mistrust and how do we change that? I don't know. How do we build the trust again of being able to use that word as to fix what was broken or to reconcile our differences. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Is there an example of what has happened with Truth and Reconciliation? Like, is anything significant happen that we can actually say, okay, that worked that one time? Like, is there anything? I've actually never heard of anything.
You know what? I don't. The way I lead is as a leader. I don't take. Fundamentally, nation to nation, we talk, and a lot of the stuff that happens in other places of the world, I concentrate on just more or less what we're doing. Mm-hmm. For example, in our community, we've had some capital projects, we've had some commitments from the government, but and you had mentioned too, and I know in your guys' area there's some specific land claims things happening, and we're in the final stages of ours as well. I'm not going to speak too much on it, but I said, the reconciliation piece of it, it's slowly happening, but it's not happening as fast, I guess, as we want things to happen. The experiences they've had with residential school and then, the day school stuff that's happening right now, that's part of it. But I mean, I think the process is a little bit flawed. I think it could happen a lot faster. I think with everything in life, I think we could move forward and work together collectively so the processes happen faster, because I know a lot of our people and the old people that actually need that reconciliation and they need that, how do you put it? They need that closure. Yeah. They're getting older, and you know what I mean? Yeah. For those people that residential school and all of these day school 60 scoops that really truly need that reconciliation are getting old in that population. We don't want to see them die off without actually having some closure and some being put at peace or some peace of mind, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, go ahead. You there?
Dropped or what?
Yeah, I hear you. That's my opinion, and I think if you guys want to pick on that, or do you guys want to, that's my take at it. I think a lot of our.
I think it's honest. I think it's honestly, it was just a face. I think because I really can't think of anything that's actually happened that that's part of the truth and reconciliation phase. Besides a few pictures of this and that, but nothing really significant.
So, well, it's a tri-party agreement, and it's just not benefiting. Sure, the government and the parties that were involved on the trauma side of it, they benefited without having to be ostracized or to be even prosecuted. You know what I mean? So they have benefited on their side, but I mean on the Indigenous side, sure, there's been all of these, there's been these reports and things written about the truth and reconciliation and the process and that. But like I said, I on the ground at the grassroots level, I just don't see it's there yet where it needs to be. The intent and the idea was there at the beginning, but it's just not there now, I don't think.
Yeah. Here's my take. Is why okay? So the first step to reconciliation would be to end the boil water advisories on the 100+ reserves in Canada that currently do not have to boil their water for it to be drinkable. Colin kind of talked about that a little bit earlier. That we're living in a third world country in our own country. So there's some things that need to be taken care of before we can even think of coming together to on our end to come to reconciliation. And those are simple things like people needing water to drink and housing and food and things that are basic necessities to live. I don't understand how like I think you hit it on the head, Nathan, when you said it's a blanket term to get a photo op or to make somebody feel good for a minute, but there's no real driving force behind it, and there needs to be if they're truly about it. And if they're not, then drop the term and move it to something else, and at least pretend or stop pretending to be something that you're not, or something that you want that you don't really want.
Yeah, totally. I totally believe that. But again, it's and you get back to that boil water advisories. It's more than 100 communities across Canada.
Right.
I really think, you know, the
500
promises that
probably?
they've made. Oh yeah, close probably, and they just haven't they've made promises and they've come short on them, and you know they're failing at their reconciliation on their side. You know, and I really think them using that word, like I speak this all the time. I said the truth, that word reconciliation. Our old people and our people that have heard this word from the beginning don't use it as a word of trust anymore. You know, it's a word of it's evolved to a word of mistrust and not be in. You know, and that's how I feel about it. And I really think that what we have to do to move forward to truly get reconciliation, and it's tough, and I speak of it all the time, and I mean a lot of the issues that our people have faced through trauma, through, you know, all of these issues that, you know, that we're discussing, the number one thing I've always spoke about and I've always talked about, that it comes to, you know, forgiveness and kindness. But I mean, a lot of the issues that are ingrained in our people and a lot of the traumas that are ingrained in our people, I don't think a lot of our people have the tools to be, you know, forgiving, kind, and loving to let go of those traumas. So, I mean, we're at a critical point in time where we need to start moving forward, but, you know, we got to collectively, as citizens, as leadership, as government, you know, Canadian, our own, to figure out what's the real solution.
Yeah. Okay, Colin, thanks, man. We're rolling up on our 20-minute topic, but I just want to put in a real quick piece here and then everyone else can finish off. I think the way we're going to really get to the awareness of who we are and everything that's happened and try to build a trust, and I always push it, man, is this kind of forum, this kind of spectrum where we could bring on, imagine if we had, you know, 3 other non-Indigenous people, we had 3 Indigenous people on each side of this camera here, and we all talked about what happened, and then we had a conversation, and then you had people in the comments, instead of, like, you know, all the hating comments you see usually on Starfeeder posts and everything. It's all the hate and everything. There's really no dialogue there except this and that. I think this would be a good way to, you know, start that engine and help it go, I guess. But
Yeah.
Any you guys want to finish up on that, Colin? I'm going to let you go. You can keep calling in if you want, man.
Yeah, thanks, bro.
Thank you,
All
Colin.
See you, Ray.
See you, buds. Who wants in? Anyone? Hallie? Rachel?
You guys, look at this.
I'll go in. I'll go in.
Let me go rally. I don't know more. Just kidding. Go ahead, Haley.
Well, personally, I like reconciliation. I seriously fought for that stuff. Like, there were so many things that I thought I could possibly do for reconciliation, and it's honestly so important. Like, we cannot lose our culture, we cannot lose our tradition, and like building that relationship with like the Europeans is so intense. It's like a two-way street. Like, if they're not doing it, if they're not fighting and trying to make it work, it's just not going to happen. Like, it has to be even and equal from like both sides, or it's just not going to happen. And it's hard because a lot of Indigenous people are trying to do something about it, but then it's just not there. Like, that energy is not there. And like, that's something we have to work towards, is like definitely trying to build that relationship again, because it really is important, man. Like,
Yeah.
it causes a lot of like racism and like things that we honestly shouldn't have to put up with. And it's like,
Yeah.
there's so many things you could say about it, but
We feel you. All right, thanks, Haley. Rach, you want to say anything about it, or?
I think, like, for me, I feel like it's more of a, well, years ago, I was kind of like, oh, reconciliation, this is cool, this is interesting, this is a good thing, you know, moving in a different direction. I think it brought healing in certain ways around certain things, but I also feel like it's very surface based. and external. And I think that in order to really shift and change things, there's a lot of internal work that needs to be done for everybody. There's this us versus them thing all the time. And it's like, how can you work together and come together with other people when, it's difficult to sit down in a room and get really deep about things, right? So
hold on, Rach. Sorry, I got this call again here. Hello.
Hello there.
Hi.
Hello, this is Victoria.
Oh, hi, Victoria. Are you
Hello,
calling?
is this Nathan?
Yeah, are you calling about the topic right now?
Yes, I just wanted to briefly share with you. It is my hope that the words from Prince Charles, it was in the news this morning over in England.
Yeah.
Prince Charles, the future king of England, saying that encouraging and supporting the world to listen to the words of the world's indigenous people. And sadly, he didn't comment too much on the treaties, but it's very possible that there are indigenous people out there who would take Prince Charles and his words to heart with our belief in Mother Earth. And I took his words as something positive, and I just wanted to say bravo to Prince Charles for sharing how he feels about Mother Earth, and it is my hope that his words may find comfort and healing to Native people.
Awesome. Well, thank you. We're going to actually end this subject. We can go on. We're over our time limit here, but thank you for calling in and giving us those words. So keep watching, and you could probably call in for another topic too as well.
Yeah, please
Thank you
do.
so much. Get me great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
yeah.
Okay, guys, I'm sorry. We're going to have to move on to the next topic. That's how we want to roll with this. We can talk about reconciliation forever, and everyone can just
Never.
yeah, we're going to go on to the next topic here. We want to, and yes, I seen in a comment there, Kim, if you can suggest topics, yes, you can suggest topics, and we might even use it. So, but we're going to go to here. Let's go. Where's the music?
I like. Hi, John. I seen your comment. It was dope.
Spin that wheel. Spin that wheel. I'ma make
And River wants to normalize life.
Like what?
Oh man, are we gonna get a fun topic here?
Meth. Oh, sorry. I was real excited.
All right, Raymond, change that.
This will wake us up a little bit.
All right, yes, you guys.
No
the
pun
topic
intended.
is meth / addictions, and we did. If you guys are wondering, we did put really good topics in there, like cool stuff. So,
Is this like recovery too, or is it like just addictions?
we'll throw recovery.
Whatever you feel you want to speak on around all of it. I think.
Put meth addiction and recovery.
All right, got you.
All right, who wants to go on this one? Who wants to start? Because this one could get. And like I said, you guys, hold on before you guys say anything. Everyone that's watching, there are going to be some topics here, like this one exactly, that's coming up that could hit you guys somewhere. So just be forewarned. Anyway, meth. We all know right now. I see it. We all see it, especially in North Battleford. What's going on? It's a major problem right now on a lot of the indigenous communities surrounding North Battleford, surrounding in Saskatchewan in general, and the opioid crisis as well. There was high addiction rates as well that were already there, but I mean, meth just brought it in and it just went poof, right? So that is taking a stronghold on our indigenous communities. And with a lot of the gang violence and bringing it in, and it's so cheap too. So I don't even know where to go with that, man. It's everywhere, and it's sickening, and it's gross, and it's sad. You get angry, but you feel sorry at the same time. But and everyone's trying. There's programs out there after program. And people are trying to fight it with that way, through our indigenous culture, through AA, or not AA, I guess treatment programs, but I mean, I don't know. Do you guys think we're fighting a losing battle?
Man, you know what? The first things first that we got to say about addictions, man, is that we can only pray for them. That is the main thing that we can do. As somebody that was addicted, I wasn't addicted to meth, but I had a pretty bad cocaine addiction for a long time in my life. And to get over that, man, was the hardest shit I ever had to do in my life. And there were days where I didn't think I could get through it, and I relapsed and I fell a lot. So there was a lot of things that I know personally about addiction that, you know, I'm fine with sharing now because I'm in a comfortable place and I'm healing a lot better. So I know about addictions. But meth, man, meth is a whole other game, man, and it's something that can take your soul, as you've seen. You know, like it's something that can leave you with apps like on the streets with nothing for the rest of your life. It can do permanent damage. So the thing that I think is like, we have to start holding people that are selling meth more accountable, right? Because there is
like what? What do you mean accountable?
Well, okay, so like for instance, man, there's always going to be supply and demand for drugs, right? But there are people out there that are poisoning entire communities with what they're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And they are literally causing mini pandemics in their reserves, in the urban spaces, and they are not treated as if they're murdering people, right?
Totally.
They're murdering people. And we as people, we as Indigenous people are like mad when, like, for instance, I seen a post like a few months ago where people were banning drug dealers, like kicking them off the reserve, and people were like, well, that's not going to solve anything. Well, that's going to solve somebody from not selling meth inside that house. Like, what? I don't understand the rationale. So we need to get better and stronger as people to understand that that's not okay. Because if we can convince our own people that we do not need to sell this to our own people, then we've won and we've beat it by ourselves without anybody else's help. But it's the people that are coming into our communities, and we are letting them come into our communities and run rampant and destroy our communities, and then we're stuck to pick up the pieces, right? I would like.
I agree 100%, man.
Yeah, and I know people that are in the streets that have to sell drugs to make a living, and I understand that because, you know, sometimes you get put on a different path, and that's your story and that's your life, right? So I understand that people have to make a living, and sometimes they're doing it the only way that they know how. But everyone that I've ever known that sold drugs did not push meth to people. They did not let people get into that realm. They wouldn't even touch it. They wouldn't tell it. Like, you would be like, that's something foreign to them. You know what I'm saying? And now it's become so prevalent and regular in our communities, and we're not doing anything about it.
Wow. What? That, I feel like he had to let that out, and I'm glad he let that out now, because that is so true. Like, so true. And it's literally killing our people. But like, I have to say, because I literally have watched people suffer with addictions and whatnot. But personally, I think every single person that has an addiction is going through some sort of pain. That is why they're running to that addiction, whether it's drugs or alcohol. That's why they're addicted, because they're relying on something to make them feel better, to get rid of that void. They're filling that void with the drug. And it's like that pain, they don't want to feel it. That's why they have this addiction. That's why they keep going through it over and over. And I was like, I think like that's the way I've always thought of it. And a lot of people won't admit that when they have an addiction that they're going through some sort of pain or trauma or something in their life. Yes, he's right. And a lot of people can't accept that, or that they're, you know, going to drugs or whatever to get rid of that pain. And that's like when it's really unhealthy. And that's when you have to realize that it's not doing anything for you. You know, you're like still stuck in that same place, and you're not healthy anymore. You're really hurting yourself. And the recovery, it's a really, really long process, and I've tried to help so many people, and I have helped many people with their addictions. And it's all about like accepting what you've been through and really trying to love yourself and focus on yourself in the process. Like you have to trust yourself, because it might seem like a long and difficult process, but you're going to get there. And when you do, you're going to be so excited and feel good about yourself that you got out of that low place and that dark place. And it's hard. I understand, like, it is really hard to, overcome an addiction because it's so consuming, right? It feels like you need it all the time. Like, but honestly, like, I know, like, if Ray can do it, anyone can do it.
Yeah, man. Big shout out to Ray for beating that too as well, eh?
Yeah, man. And that's the thing too, I will say though, I haven't beat it, right? I've learned to understand what hurts me and what is not good for my health, and I know how to cope with it better. But there's some days where I'm just like, yo, like I wouldn't mind just going out and getting hammered and doing my thing again, because the weight of the world is just on my shoulders and I feel heavy. But now I've come to a better coping mechanism where I know I just put myself in the shoes of what's it going to be like tomorrow. And I always know that tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'm going to feel like shit and I'm going to feel awful. And I don't want that for myself anymore, man. I hate hangovers. I hate feeling anxiety and pain and anger and sadness and suicidal and just everything that comes with that next morning. No matter how high and awesome the high is at the time, the low is always a little bit lower. So,
Yeah.
Rach?
Yeah. I'm with a little bit similar to Raymond there. I also had issues with substances, and cocaine was my drug of choice. It helped me cope with a lot of didn't help me cope with a lot of trauma. I used it to escape my own reality a lot, and I just this it's the same thing. I hated coming down. It was the worst. I wanted to die every time. It was terrible. And then, you still do it. But I've been clean, for a while, and I love living a clean life. It's a non-negotiable for me when it comes to, having people in my life and relationships and things like that. And it's also like with meth, it's really close to home for me. I have really close people in my life that have been addicted to meth and sometimes still use it. And it's tough to watch people that you love
Yeah.
It's tough to watch people that you love disappear. And but what I've learned is you just love them anyway, and hope that maybe they'll choose themselves in a different way. They'll choose something else, like they might want to stop or get help or things like that. But I've also learned that for the people in my life, it wasn't a decision that they were like, I'm going to get help. It was, they ended up in prison. And, it's either prison or dead, I feel like, when it comes to something like meth, because it really is such a soul-sucking drug. And that's how, my brothers have gotten clean in a way, is by ending up in federal prisons. But it still doesn't help with any kind of the crisis, the addictions that are happening, the drugs that are being sold, things like that. And I do agree with Raymond. It is an accountability thing. It is like stepping up and, finding out who is doing that shit in your community. But also I can't judge that. I even went through my own experience of selling drugs like years ago, because I also just fell into that kind of a path of trying to survive. And I'm not proud of it, but I also like learn from it, and I don't judge people in those spaces either. But it is about, if people are going to be leading and wanting to create changes, then it's like about calling out people. It's about shutting shit down. It's about, just really taking action, I think, in a lot of ways. But I don't know, my heart goes out to anybody that is struggling with any kind of, addictions or coping in that way. It is a thing that comes from trauma and not knowing how to live your life. And so just know that you can get through it, and there are better days, and it does get better, and you can have a better life, and you are loved, and you are enough, and you can, just love yourself enough to, I don't know, make a change. That's all I gotta say.
Word.
That was good, Rage. Wow, that was good, man. You're so right. I think all of us, and I'm talking everyone that's watching, know someone, either it's a family member, a close member, or a close friend, or a friend that is dealing with some type of addiction, whether it be meth, some kind of drug, gambling, porn, anything, any kind of addiction, is to literally love that person. They're battling something that, they don't like it, man. Like, even as I used to smoke. It'd be 3 years. I have addictions. Like, my addiction was like gambling. Like, there was some days, man, like I went hard on that shit. Like, I remember blowing $4,000 and then my rent was gone, and I didn't know where I was going to eat, and just dumb shit, right? Like, that was my addiction. And, and I finally figured it out and, helped myself out. But, also the other addiction was smoking, and never really had drugs. Cause I was always, when I did the weed, I couldn't breathe and thought I was going to freaking die.
Yeah.
But I mean, addiction is addiction is what I'm trying to say. Addiction is addiction, no matter what it is, in whatever form. Is everyone has to help whoever is in need at that time. And what I want to say too, one thing is that you can only do so much. Because in the end, if that person doesn't want to change, you're just going to go into a cycle.
I would agree.
You're going to go in a repetitive cycle. I've seen it. You can fight for a while. Never give up in the end. Never give up. But remember, there's a point where you're going to have to say, I love you. I care for you. I want the world for you. But at the same time, I know at the end, you're going to have to help yourself. You're going to have to get a point in your life where you're going to decide either it's death or I want to live. Because that's literally what it'll come to.
Yep. And for me, it I had everything going for me before I kind of got lost in addictions, man. Like, I could have, I felt like Haley does. Like, I could fucking change the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, my voice matters, everything like that. And then as the addiction got a hold of me, man, it took everything from me, man. It took my friends. Like, my closest friends wouldn't even want to be around me, and I didn't even blame them, bro. Like, I wouldn't want to be around my friends. My family wasn't talking to me. Like, I had burned people with money. I had, I lost, I wasn't a good soccer player anymore. Like, I lost scholarships. I lost everything. Addictions took everything from me and didn't give me anything back. Nothing. Nothing. It gave me nothing. And to that would be something that I want to tell somebody out there that's struggling with this, with addictions, is that man, there's things out there that love you, man, but that's not ever going to be one of them. I promise you, man. That's not going to take care of you. It's going to be a short-term feel good situation. And then it's going to get worse and worse. And pretty soon you're in a hole and you're like, yo, man, 2 years ago, I was just on the path to to change my stars, break all these curses and move forward. and then it's like, boom, here's reality. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is my reality now. Now I got to climb myself out and do it all over again. So yeah, addictions are close to my heart, man.
Just like what you're saying though, like drugs, like it can like make your reality seem like fake. Like somebody told me yesterday, actually my cousin was talking about derealization. And when I asked her, I was like, what is that? And she says, it's like when you're looking at yourself in like a blurred vision and you're living that life, like you're not connected to like your environment, to like people, to like objects, like everything like feels like
out of body.
Yeah, like, and I was like, what the heck? And it's crazy because I kept reading on it and said that addictions can do this. Like drugs can make you feel like you're not even in reality. And that's why like you're doing the things you're doing, like you're escaping reality, and it's scary. Like I feel for people that are, so addicted to drugs, because like I literally cannot imagine, and I would feel stuck, but I know you could get out of it, because there's so many great things out there and so much potential, especially for all Indigenous people. Like I see so much potential in all our people, and it's like there's so much out there in the world, and like that addiction, whatever it is, like you might feel stuck, but you can get out of there. Like
that's the thing, right? Is that people do it to take you out of these are not where they want to be. They're scarier than what it's like to be high or on drugs, right, for several days. But the thing is if you remember that you have the power to create a new reality for yourself at any moment, at any time, when you start to remember that and you think about that, and you don't like the way that you're living, and you don't like how your life is going and how you're feeling and what you're thinking, and maybe you need to unpack your shit, you need to start healing, you need to start looking at those things that you're hurting from, the anger, the sadness, the fear, the shame, the guilt, whatever that is. But know that you have the power within yourself to create any reality that you want, any reality. And that's like a pretty big power to have as a human being. So like, just hold that hope, and like, just know that you don't have to escape your reality, no matter how scary it is, no matter how shitty it might feel. You can start to create a new one.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Rachel, I kind of want to ask you a question, because
Sure.
like some people always kind of differentiate what happens. For me, it was like, as I was kind of spiraling out of control, it was like I felt like I was just digging myself deeper. So it was like I would have to, like, for me, one big thing was like I hated looking in mirrors at myself. Like the sight of myself like gave me like a really ugly feeling. Like I was very depressed at looking at myself. So I would like look down, or I literally would avoid mirrors. But what the point I'm getting to is like when you're kind of wrapped up in that addiction, you just don't think, like, and then it all comes like rushing in. Like, was that kind of like how yours got to, or were you constantly thinking? Because I know there's kind of two different ways that it can take you.
So like, I don't really attach to labels a lot, right? Like it's not my thing. I'm not a societal, like in society they'll say, oh, you're this, and you're this, and blah, blah, blah. I don't like that. I feel like it puts me in a box, and I don't want to be in a fucking box. So I don't go out and say I'm an addict. I don't say I'm a recovering addict. I just don't attach to those things. It's a choice. It's just how I want to live my life. Doesn't mean that I'm denying that I had experiences of being addicted to substances or alcohol. I see why I was doing that. And I was actually a closet cokehead for like 15 years.
Yeah.
And it was like a thing where I could function and go to work and, like try to be whatever. And then reality would get so overwhelming and so stressful because I hadn't dealt with my traumas. I hadn't taking a look at my own stuff. And I would go out and get drunk and get high for like 2 days and then go to work again and do that again. People don't think that's like an addiction thing, but it is. Like, it's a cycle, right? It's a pattern. So it was more like I would hit like all these rock fucking bottoms. And then like, nope, that's not enough for that rock bottom. Let me hit another rock bottom. Like, I wasn't like getting it. I wasn't like getting it for a long time. And it was more like, finally I would be able to like be clean for like a year, 2 years, whatever, no problem. But then anytime anything happened in my family where I was triggered, because my mom's an addict, my brother's an addict, my other brother's an addict, my other brother's an addict, labeled. And those are the closest people that I loved. And I couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't help them. I couldn't do anything about it. And I fucking hated it. So my way to deal with that stress was to go get high myself. And then I just finally was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, this is not, doesn't feel good. I don't even like it. That's not who I am. And so it was more of like just really choosing one day, like, I don't want to do this anymore. And that was it. I was done. That's it.
Awesome. Yeah,
I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. I just wanted to know. Yeah, personal backgrounds.
I just want to finish up real quick on that. Are you guys done? Haley, you're good?
Yeah, that's all good. Everything's
you guys are awesome. You guys, really quick on the last topic before we spin that wheel. Know that if you're going through something tough, if you're doing whatever on the Kimoots, know that you're loved. There's somebody out there that loves you. Somebody loves you and always and is out there to talk. And if and if you guys know somebody that is doing it, know that you can only go to a certain point, and then you gotta pull back, man, because that just trying to help so much is gonna kill you, and they have to help themselves. But we're gonna move on, you guys. Awesome topic, you guys did awesome. It's so like I said, it's so awesome to hear all these views and everyone in the comments as well participating. So we are going to spin that wheel. Let's get that music going, and remember in the comments, whoever's watching,
that wheel.
You guys can call in 306-717-5395 if you want to.
Yo, DJ, spin that beat.
Yes, come on. Yes.
What are you watching?
Yeah, of course, man.
Resi, what?
Resi stuff.
Yes. That one.
I did.
Was that
so? Yeah.
We're gonna let.
Go ahead.
So this topic is Resi stuff.
All right. So how we'll start this topic is we're going to. I'm just posting it right now. So give me 1 second. So what we're gonna do is comment. Everyone in the comment section, give us your answer too. But I'll start it off by pitching a question. I want to know, what's the resiest thing you guys ever did as a kid? Like, what was the one thing that you did that was just like super resi?
Oh man.
Fuck, man. That's
There's
so
too
long
much
ago.
to count.
Yeah. I'll go first. I used to swim in the ditch when I would go to the res. Like, my cousins would be like, yo, let's go swim in the ditch. And it's like all brown, like stinky water.
The dugout. Those are called dugouts.
Yeah, I can play with that. So I think I was probably about 8 or 9 years old, and there's like a little, we call it up the hill over here. And I think, we went swimming in those dugouts. There was blood, there was poop, there was pee, all this.
Oh my
We're
god!
Swimming, eh? I cut my foot in there. I cut my foot in there, and then my uncle came because I was just crying. I cut my foot, and they're bleeding in there. I'm surprised I didn't get infected with something. And my uncle picks me up, and we had a store on the reserve, and he's driving me down the road. And he's turning into the store. When he's turning into the store, that damn truck door opened, and then I went rolling out while my foot was all cut. And then I was just in the ground there, just crying around. I'm all scraped up, like with all that rough water all around me, and foot's cut. And man, I've done that, man. And yeah, see, like looks like everyone used to do that, man.
Everyone used to be, throw rocks at cars,
yeah,
sniff gas. All right, Haley, come on, tell us your resiest moment as a kid.
Throw rocks at a car, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Sliding down the basement steps with the mat. Yes. Yeah.
That's fun. Or like a
Yeah.
garbage bag.
Okay, that's pretty fun.
Yeah, I'll tell you the other resiest thing I used to do as a kid a lot was get bugs. I used to get bugs religiously, bro. And,
We
like,
just shaved our head, man. They just shaved our head. when we
Shared
did
with the cousins.
it. Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't have any memory. I don't have a lot of memory from the ages like 3 to 8. So, I mean, we just did everything: play outside, play in the dirt, like just. I don't know, like the same thing that we did in the hood and in the streets as a kid. Like, I don't think there's a lot of difference. But bare feet all the time, barefoot all the time.
Yeah, Red Dog Girl was in there.
Don't wear shoes.
Oh yeah, there's one using a car hood to
Honestly?
slide down the hill, man. Yes, we have a hill over here. It's called the Big Hill. On the hill here. Yeah,
That's some shit I would do.
Haley, what do you got?
I seriously, me
Or
and my
Haley, yeah.
buddies, we used to like go in the back of the car, like pop the hood, or not the hood, like the trunk, and we had like this big hill, like right outside the house, and we used to like hop on it and seriously go like 40 kilometers an hour and just like having the time of our lives, like going down this big hill on the back
I
of
got-
the car, like, and it was
I
like
got-
crazy. Like we had like big like tractor things, and I don't know what those things are called, but like they're like big long poles, and it was basically like a teeter-totter looking thing. But we didn't have a teeter-totter, so like this big machine, like big thing. Like I remember I used to hang on it on the bottom, and my sister would pull that big thing down, and you had to crawl up it to like for it to fall, and then out of nowhere you would like hop up into the air like 30 feet, and it was like a big, massive, huge teeter-totter, and we thought it was like the coolest stuff in the world. Like
those green
hours we
elevators?
spent. I think so. They're like those big, long.
Yeah, those are not grain elevators. Those are things that they put the grain in from the truck to the bin.
Oh,
Yeah, the belts, green belts, I think they're called.
Okay, here's something probably everyone's done. Get pulled behind a vehicle, like on a sled or those little electric little vehicles. You know what we used to do? We literally had those little electrical videos or vehicles in the summer or something like that, or those little toy cars or whatever they were, but they weren't no engines in them or like little batteries, and get pulled around like by another cousin who was only like probably 12, driving the vehicle and pulling us around in the vehicle like on the back end with the rope, and then you guys know what I'm talking about?
Boomer,
Yeah.
boomer stuff.
I've been pulled out of my vehicle.
Here's the
Boomer.
vehicle, here's the rope, and then we're behind it getting ripped around. Oh
Okay,
my
now I get it.
God.
I
Now
think-
I know.
man.
The driving at the age of 4.
Yeah, when you're on the reserve, if you don't have your res license by at least 10 years old, man.
This is so
Five.
embarrassing. But like, we seriously used to have like itchy band noodles for breakfast, and like,
I love it.
Yeah.
and oh, I just have like pop all day, probably like a million cavities, like.
Pepsi, yeah, with the
Yeah.
Pepsi.
Hey, have you guys ever like gone into the fridge to get butter and then you open it up and it's like a big pot of like old soup in the margarine container with the grease on the top? That's Reggie, bro. That's super Reggie. My dad has like a religious thing about like not throwing out food, and he'll always put it in
Oh.
margarine containers. So you're playing a game of like Russian roulette with the margarine containers.
Fried bologna.
And ketchup.
Yeah.
I think Ty John's right, bro. I remember doing that with my cousins. We'd all like choke each, like when you put each other in a headlock till you block out. And then
God.
Stare at the light.
Yeah, that would totally happen, man. And then sometimes, like, usually you'd like snap out of it real quick, but when they let you go, sometimes you wouldn't snap out of it right away, so you'd be like on the ground. They'd have to give you a quick shake. Yeah, that's that's some resi stuff right there.
Oh, man. Yeah, man. No, but yeah, when we were younger, man, we used to get kicked out of the house like at 9, 10 in the morning, maybe even early 9, and then told, don't come back till. Usually, they never came back till it was like darker to come in and snack real quick, or when they yelled at you to come in and eat, and then you'd head right back out, man. Like, and yeah, man, we used to do some stupid shit when we were young, man. But it was so fun. Like, it was so fun. Going back to the Reggie stuff, if you're on the reserve, and we used to have these things called Goonie Adventures. You guys know the movie Goonies. You're not that old, right? So, and then we'd go around the whole reserve and we'd chase these bulls and just stupid stuff, man.
Man, do you know, like, you ever like run in with your cousins and you guys are all having a race and then you just like kick the one in front of you's legs out and they just like go flying? I feel like that's like only like Indian kids do that shit to each other, man. Like, you'll never see white kids like roughhousing that hard, man. Like,
or if they fall, you're laughing at them. You're not asking, are you okay?
Yeah.
If someone falls and gets hurt, man, it's like, are you? It's like, yeah, you're laughing instead of asking if they're okay.
Man,
Yeah.
I remember this one time. Okay, like if you lived in res and you didn't have any mice, you lie. Because this one time we used to like mess around with the mice, hey, and like purposely put like cheese there and like wait for them. We were trying to like trap this mouse, and then finally it came. We're like, oh, it's here. Like, what do you do? Somebody had the broom, somebody had a dustpan. Like, we were like ready to get.
Man, I remember mice used to crawl on me, and I was too lazy, and I liked the feeling of them crawling on me, so I'd let them crawl on me.
Ew, you're lying.
No, I get dead serious, man.
Ew.
Like, yeah, I remember one night there's mouse crawling on me, and I was like, ooh, I knew it was there, but I was like, oh, I'm gonna let it because it kind of felt good on my leg, and then took off again. Yeah, that's not right. That's just kind of gross.
No doubt.
What else, Resi, man? It's kind of like
Sometimes I dressed resi.
yeah.
I feel like I dressed.
What's dressing resi?
I don't
Honestly,
know,
like
rough
mix
clothes.
match. Mix match.
Or like
Socks.
an XL shirt when you're like 7, like a men's extra large shirt.
Your uncle's shirt.
Yeah.
Big bulky white shoes. Osiris.
Or always walking to everyone's house. Like, you're always walking to everyone's house because I don't know. That's just kind of what you did on the reserve. You're just driving a vehicle. Like, that's what I just remember growing up on the reserve is driving the vehicles and like being allowed to. There was it wasn't shamed upon. It's like, you better start learning how to drive. Like, And we took it into town sometimes. I remember going into town like at 12, driving my mom's vehicle, and then we'd pass the cop. And for some reason, we all turned off the radios and everything, acting like if we were real quiet, the cop wasn't going to notice that we looked 10 and driving a vehicle. Turn off the radio.
Oh my God.
That's so funny. My bro River talked about this the other day, but he was like, you remember like when you'd go to school and you like wouldn't have a toque, and then the next day they'd be like, hey, you have to come back with a toque. So you'd come back with one of those, like, you know how like in the old 2-4 packs they'd throw like shirts or like toques. So like you'd come in with like a Bud Light toque the next day. At like 7 years old, yeah, with a Bud Light toque. I always found that one funny.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Or like getting dropped off at like someone's house with all your cousins, and then all the parents go to someone else's house and drink for like the whole weekend.
You're just gonna stay here tonight.
Yeah, and then you're like, where the fuck are parents? They don't come back 2 days.
Yes, I remember this right here, wearing bread bags in your shoes. Yes, we always had to put bread bags, their little garbage bags, Walmart bags and stuff in our boots. Yes, I remember doing that all the time. I wonder why we don't do that anymore. It always kept everything dry.
You should
No,
do
we
it.
still do?
You should do it and check it out.
Yes.
honestly,
See the bread bag theory.
it keeps,
And then put your number on the screen for your snag. Snag with a bag.
sleeping in Cookham's living room with all your cousins. Yes, and I guess that's another thing. It's growing up. See, with Indigenous people, we always have big families, and your cousins always are basically turning out to be your brothers and sisters. And you know, that's what I remember. Is there were so many of us cousins, and you know, just running around the reserve, fighting and having fun, and just being, you know, little res kids, man. It was
Yeah.
fun.
When they didn't give you a blanket.
Word. I remember too, because like I lived in the city like all my life, but like everyone says, North Battleford is just like one big reservation anyways. So like you just have like all your bros are there all the time. You just can kind of do more town stuff. But like I remember I'd go to the res like every now and then, and I would like show up, and my cousins like right away would be like, all right, let's go somewhere. And we kind of go strolling around. And I remember no matter what, they would always try to make me fight somebody just because I was from town. They were like, go fight, like, you're going to fight this dude. And I'm like 9 or 10, just like getting punched out by res boys all the time. And it's
That's funny.
so funny. Well, what do we got
Good
for
one.
time? Let's switch.
Yeah,
Let's roll the dice.
Let's roll. Where's the music? Where's the music?
Who's pulling up the music?
Okay.
Rachel.
DJ. Our DJ.
There we go.
Spin that wheel. I'ma make you
Good one.
Trick 3 featuring the Kid K. Spin that wheel.
Oh yes, is it on? What's on it? Oh shit. Oh,
What is it? EMFs.
On it.
Should we
Isn't
do
it?
it again?
What did you think it was? Future technology?
Yeah, I was looking almost hit it.
I
Yeah,
have
that
no
would-
idea what EMF is. So
That would have been
Rachel's-
Joe.
Go ahead.
Well, we don't have to talk about it. I mean, it's good to know about, but if nobody really knows,
Yeah, 'cause
then
this is literally your territory.
I mean, I know a lot.
I'm talking.
Do you?
You do?
Yeah.
All right,
Okay,
let's go.
sweet.
EMF.
I love it. Let's talk energy. My favorite. That's my first
talk
language.
energy.
Okay.
I hope my mom's
open it up
listening.
then. Explain to everyone what it is first.
EMF, electromagnetic field. So everything is energy, right? And then you have your own blueprint, your own signature energy, your own frequency. And if you don't know what that is and what that feels like and what that what you're giving out, then it's really good to find out what that is, to get to know that about yourself. But EMFs are essentially like things that affect your energy frequency. They affect how you think, how you feel. They cause all kinds of like issues, degenerative diseases. So that would mean like if you look around your house, just look around your house and see what kinds of electronics you have. Like, do you have an alarm clock? Do you have a laptop where you sleep? Do you have do you sleep with your phone next to you? How many TVs do you have? Do you know what I mean? Those kinds of things. Those all give off electromagnetic energy, but not in a good way. So one thing that I've learned over the years is to try this. If you have trouble sleeping, like insomnia, or you struggle with anxiety and things like that, you feel exhausted all the time and really drained and tired, don't sleep with electronics in your room. Take them out. If you need your phone beside you for like an alarm or something, put it on airplane mode. It makes a huge difference, because all of these things are literally giving out these energies, and they're fucking with your whole field. So it's about keeping that clear, keeping that flowing, keeping it, light and vibrant and feeling good, and just see if it makes a difference. Like just start with like moving one thing out of where you sleep. Like, don't sleep with a laptop on your bed. Don't sleep with the computer beside you. like in your room. If you can take things out and put them in the kitchen or put them in a different room. Turn off your Wi-Fi at night if you can. Yeah, there's just like a lot of things. Like there's things like they say MS. What else? Like MS, exhaustion, fatigue. I guess those are like the same thing. What else? Those like immune kind of like disorders all kind of have contribute to the kinds of electromagnetic fields that are around you. So that's what I got. I don't know.
So it's not like the bad vibes.
It can be.
Well, it can be, yeah. Like it
You
can
mean
be
as
bad vibes.
as a human being, you can give off EMF?
Yes.
Well, everything has an electromagnetic field, right? So it's about like what you're allowing into that. And I'm just saying things like these and these are the worst. for
Here,
us
I'll give you
human
a
beings.
question.
Go play
I'll give
outside.
you a question, Nathan. You know when you walk into a room and everybody's giggly and everybody's laughing, and you walk into that room and you're like, oh yeah, like everyone's feeling pretty good here. You feel that energy where everyone's happy. It's like when you go into a room full of sad and upset people, you feel that too. You're not walking in there all happy and stuff. You're like, oh crap, like something's wrong. Like, okay. You go into a concert, everybody's dancing, singing. You're not going to be sitting there like, you're going to feel it. You're going to be like, okay, let's go. And it's like other people have that energy. It's like when you're thinking of somebody and like you can't stop thinking about them, the odds that they're thinking about you right now too is like very high. It's because energy is like everything. Like energy can go so far. Like you don't even have to be there. Like it's crazy. But like honestly, like personally for me, I'm a really empathetic person. Like somebody could be sitting next to me and they're feeling really sad, and I'm just like sitting there like minding my own business, and they won't even have to tell me. They'll just be sitting there and they'll be like, are you okay? Like, is something wrong? And they're like, no, I'm fine. I'm like, no, there's something wrong. And I just know, like, I can feel it. Like I start feeling crappy. And like sometimes when I go into places, I have to like cross my arms because I'll pick up those energies. And it's like super like I guess like scary in some cases, but like energy goes so far, and like I cannot understand how some people don't believe in it because man, energy is everything.
Totally. And like
They come in with the Reiki and everything, and they're going like this because my auntie does that stuff, eh? And I do that thing.
Well,
Can I-
friction
can I
too,
add
right?
something?
Yeah, if you rub your hands together, that's energy right there.
This is all I think about what you guys are talking about. This is what just like that's all I'm feeling right now when I hear you guys talk. It's like, all right,
guys,
that's
let's
cool,
call.
man.
Hey,
That's good
those
info.
good vibes.
I got a call. Hello, you're live with the Four Sides.
Hi,
Hi.
my name's Corrine.
Who's calling?
Corrine.
All right, hi, Kareen. You're gonna hold on. You're gonna have to turn it down in the background there.
Okay. Just one moment. I'm just going.
Yeah, there you go. Turn it down. Yep.
You're gonna hold on. You're gonna have to turn it down in the background there.
That's how you sound.
Did you figure it out how to turn it down?
No. Just one moment.
Just walk away from it wherever you are. Just walk away.
There we
Walk
go.
away from that EMF.
Yeah. I've for quite a while now, like for quite a few years. When I first started, I didn't know what the heck was happening. Like I couldn't understand like why I was feeling the things I was feeling, and like it was just very strange and very odd. I ended up seeing somebody. I had a dream actually of him the night before I even seen him, and I was invited to this kind of an energy healing place. So I went there, and what I had seen in my dream, I seen this guy do the same thing. So I told him, and I explained to him like what I was feeling and what I was going through, and he told me, you know,
you need to use that ability. And I said, well, how am I going to do this? And he said, you're going to have to search for it. So, which I did. And I learned quite a bit from that. And after learning all this stuff, I thought about everything my grandparents and my kokum and like the elders before us and what they were telling my kokum and my grandpa, like all of that connected. What, like, as natives, we all have that energy. Like, we all can use it. Like, it's in us. It's always been in us. Like, as native people, we've always used it. And I think what we need to do is go back to it and start not only just going to round dances and powwows and stuff like that. I think we need to use it in our home. We need to teach children how to use the energy and how to use it for healing. Healing ourselves and healing our families. And I think that's what I just started watching you guys the other night. I guess, I don't know if that was your first podcast or whatever, but
Yeah, that was our first one.
I didn't know if I was going to be really into it. But once I got into listening to you guys and all the things you guys have been discussing, I just been like even more interested in what you guys are saying. And I really agree with a lot of the things that you guys have been talking about. And some of it I don't agree with, and some of it, like, I guess everybody's got their own opinion, but like, I think going back to this energy stuff, it's all, and like what Rachel said, energy is everywhere. And everything we do has an energy, and everything we say has an energy. So that's why I guess the old elders used to say, be careful how you talk about people. Don't gossip, because, you know, it's not right. And you're sending that bad energy to them. And it's better for people to talk good about other people instead of, you know, bashing them and putting them down. And I think we need to support each other and give that energy to each other, instead of, when I've noticed that if somebody is doing good, there's always somebody behind there saying, oh, they're getting that in a bad way, like they got it this way. And there's always jealousy. And I think we all need to change that and start putting positive energy and telling people, you know, you did good, you did well, like, and giving them that positive vibe so that they feel good about themselves. We've had so many, like colonists, they have put us down for so long that we've lost that. We've lost that positive energy and those positive vibes that we need to hear. And I think we need to start telling each other that. Telling each other, you know, like, you're doing good. And if you see something nice, tell them, that's nice. I see that you're doing good. Instead of, you know, looking at that thinking, you know, they're doing something bad. How did they get this? Like, don't think like that. Think more like how to bring them up, put them up. Like, we can't always bring each other down. We have to start putting that energy into our people and telling our people we can do this, and we just need that positive energy. I guess that's about all I can say right now.
Bless.
Hey,
Thank you.
preach on it. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Grandma.
Yeah.
Aw,
Well, thank you for calling in.
She was excited to talk.
so cute.
Hey, hell yeah. Now I know where you get your wisdom from, Haley Rose. It all makes sense now.
Yeah. What's that
That was dope.
You know what,
She's passionate.
Rachel?
Yeah,
What's
no
that thing
doubt.
behind you on the TV? What is that? Is that a positive EMF?
That's why we have positive vibes here.
Yes, it's a vibration, high vibration, probably like 900 hertz.
I was just gonna say we should play a sound from, what is it, 432 hertz, where if you're feeling anxiety and all that, it's just like you play it and it's supposed to chill you out. Isn't that what it is?
Yeah,
I
you
heard
want at
about
least
that.
around there, 400 and up.
You want to hear something crazy?
Yes.
I love hearing things crazy
No, we don't. No,
Yeah.
we don't hang on crazy.
or
on
crazy
here.
things.
Okay. So in
Too
my
much
science
EMF.
class,
Yeah.
we're in my science class, and my teacher had like this machine, and it was like a vibration, but it like made a ring, and so like the higher he turned it, I think you could like hear like the zzz. And so he turned it down like really low, and he's like, nobody in the class can hear this. Like this is like only like dogs can hear this stuff, like super sense hearing. And so he turned it down, and everyone was like, no, can't hear anything. And like my ears were like my ears could like feel it, like they were like they needed to pop. And I was like, I hear it. I'm like, do you guys hear that? And then they're like, no. I'm like, you guys are serious? Like, you don't hear that right now? And then he was like, no way you hear this, Haley. Like, you can't hear that. And I was like, I seriously can hear that ring. And he's like, okay, well, I'll test you. And then he's like, I'm going to turn it off, and then I'm going to turn it on. So if it's on and you say you can hear right now, then, oh, where did he go? He said, then I'll know you're not lying. So he did it. And I was like, it's on. And he was like, you're right, it's on. And he's like, how can you hear it? Like, can you see it? And I was like, no. And then I did it again. And I was like, yeah, it's off. And then I was right again. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, I don't know how in the heck I heard that, but I heard it.
It just means that you're like attuned to your gifts early in life.
Yeah, I was gonna say
It's a
you're
good thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
You want that, and even being aware of that is a really good thing, because you can navigate things around you. You can navigate your life, your path. Like, it's good to know that and to hear those things. I love it.
It was sketchy.
Yeah, so it's all about the good vibes, and I guess that's the same kind of thing, when they say when your ears are ringing, someone's thinking about you. Is that EMF, or is that like go to the doctor because
it's like if they say it's okay. So if you start thinking about somebody like out of nowhere and they just kind of pop into your mind, and keep thinking about them and you haven't thought about them for a while, they say that it's actually because that person is thinking about you. So that transfer in the energy is there, which is why another reason why telepathy is like a really big thing too. Like, you can communicate with people on a telepathic level by tuning into that higher level of like awareness or energy that you can tap into. And then you can just be thinking of somebody, and then all of a sudden 5 minutes later they phone you, or they'll send you a message, or you ask them a question in your mind, and then they like give you the answer like the next day without you really even saying anything. It's fun to play around with the things that are available to us.
Yeah. And if you guys know, just a quick shout out, get a hold of Rachel, because that's kind of what her specialty is. She does all that stuff. We're giving her a shout out. If you guys do want to learn more about
If you want to be telepathic,
EMF, get a hold of Rachel and she'll kick in. Are all four
we
of
are
y'all
all psychic. We're all psychic.
Yeah.
Like that.
Energy's
we're all
everything.
psychic. It's just
Haley,
about tapping
you see
into
the
it.
comment? Smile. Oh, here's my brother from the. This is my blood brother, man. We became blood brothers in grade 5,
We're all
6. Grade 5. That's funny because Nathan thinks of me 24/7, but I only think of him when I see Go Lives. Oh, bro, thank you, man. Much
We're all
love.
Canadian, right?
What's our time limit here? Where we at?
I think we should move on.
Switch it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Give
Let's
Spin
go to
that
another
wheel.
topic. Okay, I'm gonna
Okay.
glitch real quick, guys.
I'm finding a new song for tomorrow.
I'm gonna glitch.
Already.
Spin that wheel.
Spin that wheel.
Yo, DJ, spin that wheel. Spin that wheel. Spin that wheel. I'ma make you feel. Yo, DJ.
This one should open up a lot of.
This one's funny. I love this.
This one is funny. I'm fucking glad this one came up too.
Right. Light skinned natives. We got 20 minutes to talk about this. And as you guys can see, all four of us are light-skinned natives.
We only got one perspective on this. So.
Who's the darkest out of us?
In the summer, man. In the summer, I turn brown.
Yeah,
man.
same here. I'm real
Yes,
dark.
same.
See, that's what goes on with us light-skinned natives, man. Is when we get that
The D.
dark, man, we get that nice dark brown, and then it's like, yeah. But at the same time, there's a lot of shitty things that go behind being a light-skinned native. You hear it all the time, man. Like, you look white, you're white, and you're just like, no, man, I'm not. And it's like, you hear that, and you hear it from a lot of your people and other people, but it makes you feel bad, but at the same time, I'm old enough now where I'm so confident in myself. I'm just like, man, whatever, right? Like, that's just what it is, man. Like, that's how I was born. And I was growing up, I was really dark. Like, I was dark, and then just as I started getting older, I call it the Michael Jackson syndrome there. I don't know what happened. I just started getting lighter and lighter and lighter, and then now, yeah, here we are.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I'll jump in real quick because I think that as much like shit as light-skinned natives get, they also have sometimes, and people don't want to admit this, like almost like a privilege because you're white passing. You know what I'm saying? So like some people don't really look at you as an indigenous person. So for some light-skinned natives that are not really in tune with who they are as indigenous people, that they're fine with it. They're cool with it. Like, they're like, oh man, like I don't even have to talk about this, like people aren't even going to ask me because it comes up a lot, right? Like me, myself, like I wasn't very in tune with who I was, at a 13 to like 16, 17 range as an indigenous person. So like, I didn't really care that I was light, like, yeah, you joke on me, but like I can go into a store and I'll get followed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like that on like different situations. So, but as I got into like more in tune with who I was like as an indigenous person, I have gotten comments where it's like, oh, well, you don't look native. Or like the other thing that I don't like is that people are like I feel like, and maybe this is just me personally, but they're okay with like talking about Indians around you or being like, oh, but you're one of the good ones, like you're not rank or you're not like this idea of an indigenous person. And it's like, well, like, what the fuck do you mean? You know what I mean? Like, what do you want me to do, bro? Like, I'm not gonna, like conform to what your idea of an Indian, but I'm also not like, just because I'm light skinned doesn't mean that I'm not any less, you know what I mean? Resi, like I'll still scrap you too, bro. And I'm missing tooth, so I'm hella Resi. But just a little bit of like stuff I've kind of realized as my own journey being a light skinned native.
Ladies,
Well, I'm light skinned, kind of, I guess you could say. I am. I mean, compared to other natives, I'm pretty light toned. But like personally for me, like a lot of people, like when they see me, they don't think like I'm native unless I have, full face makeup on, some jewelry on. But like for me, because I am light skinned, I can say that I did have a privilege. Like I was not bullied for being native or anything, because when people saw me, like they didn't think I was indigenous. Like they thought I was like Chinese or Spanish or Mexican and stuff. And it's like they do, like light skins do have a privilege, but it's also like the natives can be really harsh towards you too. Like saying like you're not our color, like you're like more white than you are like red. You know what I mean? Like it's just like, I think it's honestly even too, because even some indigenous people can be hurtful, even if you're just light skinned. Like it doesn't make you any less indigenous. It's just like you have lighter skin. Like just because I'm not as dark as you doesn't mean I'm not as res.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I don't know, but
you nailed it on the nose, man. That's 100%.
Yeah.
All right, Rach, let's hear your take.
Yeah, I mean,
You even have the eyes to go with it, so you probably really heard it too.
Well, like it's interesting because my experience, I like growing up, my family, I've had like a lot of dark people in my family and some light skinned people in my family. But I never knew there was a difference until I ended up in a part of the city where there weren't as many indigenous people. And then I like was in more of a multicultural setting and then a lot of white people. And then just kind of like, they were like, oh, you're native. You don't look native or you don't really look native and blah, blah, blah. So then it was like, I learned about, I guess like the form of internalized oppression that I had because I ended up not wanting to be native because I was around so many racist people that would say racist things, even though I was indigenous. And then they thought it was okay to say it because like, what I don't know why actually. I don't know why they thought it was okay to say it. And so then I was kind of like, that's fucked up because that I've actually seen that happen in my life. And I've actually grown up with stuff like that. You know, like the comments that they would make about like drinking and like shit like that. Like, you know, the stereotypical shit that you hear. So, but because of that, I internalized like the oppressive part of like not wanting to be native. Like I didn't want to fucking like I didn't want people to look at me like I was like gonna be some drunk, you know, and like broke ass like chick, you know what I mean? Like, and so I ended up trying to like assimilate myself and blend in as much as possible with like the friends that I had, especially in high school. There was like I was like one of 4 indigenous students in a school of like 2,000 people. And that's not a lot, but because I had lighter skin, and even though people knew that I was native, I still just kind of like blended and didn't like, I really identify with that. Right. And, yeah, it wasn't until I like university when I started to like really heal and be like, feel like I was accepted as an indigenous person. And I also worked at a gas station as a cashier on an urban reserve and then saw other light skinned natives like me. And I was like, holy shit, like there's more of us. And then we started this like thing as being the undercover Indians. And we would literally go out and like fucking fight racist people. Like it was like fucked up. Like we would just like go out and fight people that were racist and get in fights with people because they'd be like, say all this shit. And honestly, that shit's exhausting. And like Nathan, as I got older and the more like I started to love myself and, you know, like a lot of through my healing journey, I don't even care. I don't care what people say about me. I don't care if they say you don't look native, blah, blah, blah. That's not my shit. That is not my perception of myself. It's not my shit. If that's somebody else's perception of me is a reflection of them. My reaction to myself is an awareness. My reaction to somebody else is an awareness that I have, right? So I don't react to that anymore. But I mean, and then also I do agree with Raymond. I have had privileges. That's a for sure. Like the privilege to like blend in when I want to, you know what I mean? Or like that kind of shit. But I don't consider myself less than.
Word.
Yeah.
Let me jump in on here because I got something to say too because I'm seeing some comments in here and like stuff that it has got me thinking.
Can I cut you off real quick, Graham? We got a call here.
Yeah. Let's see what they got to say.
And then we'll get back to you. Hello, you're live back on the Four Sides.
Hello, Nathan. How are you?
Hi, good.
Yes, I just wanted to make a comment.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that my son is a brown Ojibwe boy.
Mm-hmm.
And
can I pause you for a sec? You got to turn that thing in the back there. You got to turn it down.
Yes, I'm sorry. I apologize.
That's all right.
You're good.
Like we're mixed in our family. Like we're mixed with like white Canadian, I guess you could say, but you're not like non-Indigenous because of the way you look. Like if you're light skinned or if you're more towards brown, if you're more towards medium light, whatever, you're still indigenous.
That's facts.
And I just want, the other thing I wanted to point out, if I may, Canada can't really ignore Indigenous people because we are enshrined right in the colonial Canadian institution. And the Canadian, the song that they sing, known as the anthem, every time they sing that song, it says they sing it on our home and native land. So we're in the our lands are in the national anthem, and we're all Native people are also in the Constitution. So Canadians can't really, I don't know about other constitutions, but you're still Indigenous, even though it doesn't matter what shade you are, you're still Indigenous. And please stay safe, everyone. And please take care.
Much
Awesome.
love.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Thank
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right, we love it.
Yeah. All right. I'm ready to go in because she made my point exactly, man. I don't believe that Indigenous identity is a color. It's a way of thinking, right? It's a way that you hold yourself. It's the way that your mind works. It's the way that you go about your business. It's about how you're learning who you are as an Indigenous person, right? So for people to put a label on that and say, "Oh man, you're not this, you're not that," we have no idea the work of somebody else's own personal life, right? So for instance, I don't know if Rachel is involved in ceremony. I don't know if Nathan goes at all. I don't know if Haley maybe goes every week and learns Cree and does her thing, right? I don't know. But what I won't do is I won't tell them who they are as people. We can't do that, man. If you feel Indigenous in your blood and in your mind and in your thoughts, and you're doing all the positive work to become an Indigenous person in your mindset, then we don't have the right. That's a colonial way of thinking to exclude people out of Indigenous identity who can, rightfully so by their ancestry and rightfully so by their mind and their thinking, be Indigenous, bro. That's fucking wrong. That's the wrong way to go about things, man, because we're not some exclusive club that you have to have a certain amount of blood in to participate. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not an identity I'll ever identify with. So, and if that's your feeling, man, then that's your prerogative, man, and go about it. Exactly what she's saying, a blood quantum, and how an Indigenous person is in a colonial construct, but by settlers to turn people against each other. Exactly. Could you imagine if we were super inclusive to the people that did have the Indigenous ancestry, but also the Indigenous identity in their minds? If everyone was brought forward, man, man, that would be some real powerful shit going on. I'm telling you that much. So that's a little rant, man.
Yeah, like to be Cree, right? Nehiawak, the people of the four directions, everybody looks different. Everybody might speak a different dialect, but we're still all family. We're still all related, right? And so that's that internalized oppression, though, that comes up with Indigenous people. It's like you got to address that. It's because of the things that have, the colonial constructs that have been in place, right? But it's not going to go away if we don't personally address things and individually do our own stuff, right? Our own kind of like reconciliation with it. Reconciliation.
It's like we're battle of both sides. Sometimes it seems, man, we're battling our own people because we're not native enough, or we're battling the white people because they're trying to cut us down, but we're native. It's just like shit.
But why battle? Why battle? Why not just accept?
Well, you know what I mean.
No,
I just always trying to fight everybody.
No. Hey, man, Raymond got me all worked up here about the fighting.
Yeah, bro. No, I'm just saying we got 2 minutes left, man. So
what were the comments, Raymond?
There was just some people that I was reading in here, like for instance, we got one here. Old people push for our people to keep our blood. You might agree, but the truth is the only thing keeping from people Indigenous is a card. Well, to what I'd say to that is that why would you fault somebody that's trying to learn their Indigenous identity because maybe that they're not 100% pure? Did did certain Indians like grow from the ground that are more privileged than others, or like how would that work? Because I don't believe that somebody that has indigenous blood in them that comes from a reserve that's trying to understand their identity is any less than somebody that might have an extra 5% in their blood quantum. So but hey, that's just my opinion, man. You just like I have my opinion, you have the right to your own opinion, but I don't think that certain people just popped up from the ground and now they're the almighty that can tell everybody else. But hey, man, your prerogative, your ideas.
And that's why this show was created, because we can have four sides, but at the same time,
For
we can hear
deadly
from,
sides.
we
Or
can hear
deadly
from everybody. Yeah.
Hey, if he wants to, like, Clayton, if you would like to come on, man, give us a call and we can talk a little bit more about this. I don't mind. I know you have some strong opinions about it, as do I, and I would have no problem trying to understand your opinions on it, but these are just my opinions, and I can't really take anything from what you're saying by throwing in a few half-assed comments. So.
But this is where the dialogue needs to start happening, exactly how it is happening right now, how Clayton said, what he said, and then Raymond had his response. But I mean, this is how we all start growing and moving forward, and everyone's taking their piece. But it's in the masses like this right now. There's us four here, but everyone's listening, and everyone starts grasping of what is exactly going on. When they do start seeing light-skinned natives, and then oh shit, I remember seeing that show where they were talking about this. Now, I kind of get that now. Or one of our browner brothers and sisters see that, and they know what we're going through, man. Like, man, we feel shit too, man. Like, it's tough, man, when you get called a whitey or something. You're like, ouch, But anyway,
you gotta heal that shit.
Yeah,
It's
two
not tough.
polarizing
Who cares?
ideas of identity. Yeah, you're still indigenous, right? Yeah. Anyway, we got to move on. Anyone want to
Great
finish
to
up
be
on that?
indigenous.
Yeah, it's a great day to be light, dark, or otherwise as indigenous. Even if you're like 66.6% indigenous, it's still a great day to be indigenous for you. Yes. And don't ever forget that.
There you go. There you go. All right.
Rock.
Word up.
Okay, let's spin this wheel
That was
now.
a good one, man. I didn't think that one would fly, but that was a good one.
Hell yeah, that got deep.
That was my topic.
Okay. Let me get you
Spinning.
spinning.
Where's the music?
Spin that wheel.
All right. Two of mine.
We're spinning again. Just kidding.
Yeah, spin again. Well, we don't want to talk about podcasting while we're podcasting.
I knew I would glitch.
All right. Yes, I brought up indigenous podcasting because it is turning into my life passion. As you can see, I had this idea to have a quick podcast of having four different sides of all of us indigenous people, and have people listen in and just hear their perspectives. I think, and I really believe that indigenous podcasting is going to explode because we have so much to say, and people are just like, COVID actually just pushed everything forward 5-10 years, and now I'm really helping push it. I've helped given Raymond. I brought him onto my show. I brought all three of you guys on my show, right?
Yeah.
On my show, and I'm helping Mosquito there. I know they started a show that the Mosquito Youth have started a podcast as well. And I encourage everyone else. I know I said this before, and I'll always say it, and I'll keep on saying it. Do try podcasting, because it's such a beautiful thing. You can speak your mind. You can speak what you want to say. You can, talk about anything. And that's why I encourage everyone to do it. And especially our Cree speakers, are ones that are fluent in the language of whatever indigenous language you speak. I really encourage you as well to try get on there, because, we actually talked about that yesterday. If people would listen, and a lot of people said they would. Anyway, I love podcasting, as you can see. Raymond down there hosts his own, and hopefully Haley here in the future does one, and as well as Rachel. But go on. Let's hear from you, Raymond.
Bro. Yeah, basically just like Nathan said, man, I got on a podcast with him. Literally as soon as we got off, he was like, yo, you should do this. And I was like, hell yeah, I could do this, man. And then he showed me how to do it. I was ready to go. And then I just completely forgot about it for like 6 months. And then, not very proud of it, but I got roaring drunk one night and I hit up my bro River and I was like, hey man, like I want to start a podcast. Thankfully he was in.
The thing there, or I'll change it. Never mind. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, sorry. Thank you. So
I'll
then
change it.
after that, man, yeah, I just hit up my boy River. I was like, man, like I think we could do something here. And then as soon as I finished with River, I called Joey Styles, who's like a guy that I've always looked up to, someone that like is pretty well known in the Indigenous community. And I was like, bro, what do you think about being my first guest? And he was like 100% in. We were like bouncing ideas off each other and it was just dope. But like now I'm kind of like after that, it's like exploded. Obviously, like I've gotten some good guests. We've been getting good numbers. Me and River, and River's like the best dude to podcast with, man, because we're best friends outside of our lives. So it's like he's like the yin to my yang, and it just works perfect. Like I'm the question guy. He's like he can dive deeper into stuff. I prepare. He goes with the flow. Like we're just complete opposites, but also like super good friends. So, but yeah, man, same thing. I would encourage Indigenous podcasting to anybody, podcasting in general. I would say, man, like. And one thing I would tell anybody that's looking to do a podcast is do not put yourself in your box. Do not say that you just want to focus on one thing, because for too long, I think what happens is that people will gear themselves towards one thing and then it'll work for a little while. And then if it doesn't stop, like if it doesn't work, then they have to reinvent themselves or like do something different and they're like completely freaked out. So, but with podcasting, all you need to do is find your core audience. You have to find who you're looking for, and those people will help get out your podcast to everybody, man. So for us, our core following is our friends and family, man, and people that are our age that are just like, you know, dying for information or trying to listen to stuff. And man, those people are what drives our podcast. Yeah. That's who drives. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Yeah. She said she wants to see
the medallion.
Yeah, man. So that's foxing around. If you go give us a follow on Facebook and Instagram and everything else. But I've already taken up too much time. But yeah, that's a little bit about podcasting, man. I love it. Just like Nathan, we can talk for hours on it. So I want to hear the other perspectives.
Yeah.
Well, I love Fox Around. Like I'll be watching that thing the whole time. I don't even leave. I'll just stay there and watch and watch. But you know, actually Nathan was like, you were the first person that ever like did a podcast on me. Like I've gotten like interviews, but they weren't like for a podcast. And so when I did that, I was like, this is pretty cool. Like it just seems like a conversation. Like it wasn't like you were asking me all these questions and I just had like prepared an answer. It was like real. Like I didn't have to prepare and know what I was going to say. Like it was just like it all came out. And I was like, this is like kind of cool. And like, I don't know, like even like right now, like what we're doing, like it's pretty cool. Like I actually enjoy it and I might consider like, you know, doing something with it. But like I enjoy it personally. And I think like seeing Indigenous people's faces, like going live, like it's just awesome. And I just like wish we could see so much more. Like I know a lot of our Indigenous people are so like talkable, like they can just communicate with people so well, like have a strong voice. Like we all have something to say and it's like crazy. Like our stories are like so awesome. And I think like it's like a great way to share your story or talk about an issue like you really want to get out there and like hear other people's perspectives. And like I don't know, like it's amazing. Like podcasts, like I didn't think it was this cool and it really is. And probably should move forward with it. But if you're Indigenous, give it a try, please. Like
and you're gonna start one, right?
You know what?
Hope.
I hope you do.
That's hope, yeah.
Yeah, because now look at you. You flow.
Do the damn thing. Yeah.
Natural. You flow with it, man. It's like natural. You can tell, like I brought people on my show and some people like you got to kind of work with them, you know, and all three of you guys, when I was talking with you, man, you guys all just flowed, man. It was just like, you can tell people who are just good at it. Right. And it's not like they have to get to the gab. It's just, man, it's like They like they just I guess to the gab. Anyway, go ahead, Rach.
For the gab. Sorry about that. I had to get my daughter in the shower. I missed what you guys said in the beginning, but
We just basically bragged about it. That's about it.
oh, okay.
Yeah, we were bragging about ourselves.
Nice. I love it. I think podcasting is really fun. I went on Nathan's show a few years ago for the first time, and did some like
No, it
tapping
wasn't like
with people.
February.
A
Just
couple
before
years
that.
ago.
Oh, it was in February before. Oh, yeah, before that you did. Yes.
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
some work, like went on there for my business, and then I like his morning show a couple times, and that was a lot of fun. But I really enjoy this. I think it's fun. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say.
Yeah.
You know who should have one? You can tell who should have one. And I look in the comments. There's certain people that are always replying. Those are the people you know that they have a lot to say, and they should actually start their own. And I say that in a good way, in a positive way. Positive EMF coming right at you.
Yeah.
Through the
Let me get in here, Nathan, because I think there's something that I need to address when we talk about Indigenous podcasting, and that's yourself, man. Because all of our stories come from you, right? From giving us that first opportunity to podcast. Like, I don't remember another Indigenous podcast that came before IOPS and what you were doing. You were the first one in our area around us that did it, right? And it wasn't radio, it wasn't like gaming, it was literally like an actual first podcast. And what I've noticed and things about just in general, but also just like with content creation and going live and going online, is some people will share certain things with people, but they won't take that next step to encourage people and bring them on and want it for them, not for themselves. It's for everybody. So more than anything, man, I just from all of us here and from everyone around, bro, like, thank you for doing this for us, because you are the one that started me off. You're going to start Haley. You're going to start Rachel. There's so many people that you've brought along and showed the way, and never been selfish with your knowledge and your time and your effort. So when you talk Indigenous podcast, like I always told you, man, you're like the godfather of this thing, because you ushered in an era for all of us to come in and occupy a space, bro. And that's something that a lot of people can't or won't do. So I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. And you can't talk Indigenous podcast without talking about Nathan Arias.
Oh,
Bless.
man.
Nathan's
Thank you,
awesome.
man.
Nathan,
Yes,
you're really awesome. Like,
That was,
seriously, you
Trying to find
inspired.
a chair, but I couldn't.
I really appreciate that, man. And it's man, I when I started this, when I started podcasting, that was my goal. It was in a weird way. I don't know if you guys remember. This is back to me being old again. We'd walk in the hallways, and you'd always see what they tried to do, and they put Indigenous people on like posters and stuff, and they'd kind of tell their story. They probably still gonna do that now, but I was thinking, man, wouldn't it be good to just hear them actually talk? You know what I mean? Because you're just reading a little brief story, and that's it, and you're like, you know, and that's all you get. And I was like, man, it would be so cool to just hear people talk and like talk with them, and then me being a tech nerd kind of, right? I just said, man, I'm gonna try this. So what I did is like I just started reaching out to people, and then this is how I started. I just started with the phone and with my brother Gene, and we just started. I literally went out. I remember one incident. I went up in Saskatoon. This native kid was talking about art or something, and he was showing his girlfriend his art on his Instagram. Me, man, I was walking by, and I was kind of just hovering around. I was like, I'm gonna ask them. So I went up to that kid and I said, hey, man, this is gonna sound weird, but do you want to come on my Facebook and we'll go live and I'll talk with you and you'll talk about your art? And this kid, he's like, yeah. I thought it was so cool. So I was like, oh, really? Give his info right there, man. I ran back to my buddies there, and then all of a sudden I was like, bro, this kid, he's gonna come on. He does art, and yeah, he came on. He did an art show while we were interviewing him, man, and it started from there. But the whole purpose is that And right away I was thinking, man, that kid, if he ever started going live and started teaching his art on podcasting or doing live video, and that's what I try to encourage, because I know all of us have some kind of gift that we can share. Like Haley, you know, you're wise beyond your years, and you're only 17. Raven, you too, man. And when you speak, it's so profound when you're speaking. And Rachel, you know, you have so much knowledge that you can share. And that's what I try to tell people is, like, when I bring them on the show, literally after every show, I tell everyone you should start a podcast. Like, that's my thing. You should start a podcast.
Yep.
And because people, when they come on my show, I don't know what like, you got to have questions for me. I'm like, no, man, I always tell them I'm going to have questions for them, but I never do, because I just go with the flow, man. I just roll with it, man. And I tried the question thing one time. Raymond told me to do it, but I was like, and it didn't kind of work out. So I was like, everyone has their own thing, and that's my thing. I just love I like shooting shit. But at the end of the show, man, that's my goal. That's my goal, is to try and encourage that person, even though if they're on no budget and they got no money. I tell them it's so easy, and that's why I say go on this platform, StreamYard. Use your phone; it's free. Go stand at Timmy's if you gotta get the free Wi-Fi. You're in Walmart, whatever you gotta do. Everyone has a story, and that's why I encourage everyone. Like, if we can get our mushrooms and cookums who are old or sitting on podcasts and hear those stories that are, you know what I mean? Like, just to hear the stories and people speaking Cree or Dene or whatever. But as Indigenous people, this is a good platform for everyone to start talking and just hearing each other's stories. And there's, you know, and Raymond, just like saying, you find your audience. You're not going to hit every single person. You're going to find your audience, and then they're going to tune in and listen and hear you. And it's a beautiful thing. I just think, I wish there was thousands of Indigenous podcasts that we could listen to and just hear them and then have a selection, right? And just, yeah. So, I mean, that's, I can go on and on and on. But in the end, I thank you for those words, Raymond. And it's just, man, Indigenous podcasting, it's going to be the thing. It's going to be the thing.
Thank you, Godfather.
Yeah, bro, the Godfather. I swear to God. And but no, man, like, the thing that I see when I see podcasting and what I think of it, it's like, for too long we've let other people tell our stories, and you know, like, for instance, even like Adam Beach. So we got Adam Beach on the podcast, right? I got super prepared, but good thing he was at his home, because he got comfortable with us right away. He texted us after and said that was the best interview he ever did. And that's from a guy that has been interviewed thousands of times. And do you want to know why that is? It's not, obviously, you know, me and River kind of are good at it, but it's because it was Indigenous people talking to Indigenous people.
Yes.
It was a native talking to a native man. Mm-hmm. So he felt comfortable, and I felt comfortable, even though it was fucking Adam Beach. Like, I was like, so, and kind of just going back to all the interviews that I'm doing, I think about it and I'm like, man, we're all comfortable. Like, us right now in this space, we're comfortable with each other as Indigenous people, and the power that we can take these little Indigenous podcasts, we can take this to wherever we want to go, and it's us doing it. It's not them. We're not letting them tell our stories anymore. It's us, and that's where it's going to come from, and it's going to be bigger than we ever imagined, because podcasting in general is going up. And Indigenous podcasting is moving us. Plus, we're moving into an age where it's Indigenous identity is starting to become prevalent again. We're strong again. We're ready to, you know, we got people like Haley ready to bust down the doors for us. Yeah. So we got people in music, we got people in fashion, and podcasting plays a role in all of that, because we're going to be the ones to tell our own stories, man. And that's something that I think is like super scary, but also super. All right. Yeah. We'll have to set something up, man. We would love to, man. I'm sure you'd come on and kill it. And everyone, like, that's the thing, is everyone has a story. Nathan said it. So yeah, like you're saying, bro, could you imagine if you just went down to your local Tim Hortons and set up your laptop and you stopped the first person that walked in and said, "Hey man, would you like to come talk on my podcast?" You'd get profound stories from everybody in all walks of life.
Yeah, man, it would be a deep conversation that everyone, like you said, everyone has a story, and we can just you got to just sit down and shoot shit. And I know the big thing that everyone is scared about is being scared. Like you feel a lot of people like, hey, I'm gonna say it. I heard it in the beginning when you started here. I heard it in your voice when you were talking at the beginning. But I mean, within like 2 minutes, man, you're just like ready to rock and roll. Now it seems like you're a veteran almost, and like all of us, you got to get over that fear, because once you do, man, you're gonna tell some awesome story. I'm not talking to you, Haley, right now. I'm talking about everyone out there right now that will, and I say will start one, because it's going to be great to hear all the different perspectives. You hear 4 sides here. I want to hear 10,000 sides of whatever.
No, for real. I think
I'm a little shy.
Yeah, that's the other thing too, though, is like people don't really realize like you're just sitting at home. Like it's like we're all at home right now, just chilling out, having a little conversation, and it works sometimes better in your house. Like I'm glad this is a good thing to why COVID happened, because now people are all at home, just chilling on their phones, waiting for the next thing to pop by, man. Ever since COVID started, man, I never used to do this. Now I'm watching gaming platforms, and I'm watching Nathan's show, and I'm watching Michael's show, and I'm watching, and I just get invested in these things because I'm like, man, I know that guy. I may not know him. Like, I don't think I've ever seen Nathan in person ever. Yeah, but I know who he is. Yeah, once. Sorry. Yeah.
You just sat there. I didn't actually talk to you.
Yeah, I was looking too handsome for him to approach me. But no, and you start to build these connections with people, and that's one thing as Indigenous people we do really well, right? We build connections with each other, and so I feel connected when I listen to Nathan. I feel connected when I listen to Michael. I feel like I know these people. I may not know them outside of their personal lives, but for the hour and a half that they're on, I know them, and to know them and to know that they're good people out there doing good work, and wanting to bring stories or helping or just sitting down and hearing conversations sometimes is peaceful, isn't it? When you just hear two people talk and you observe and sit back and take it all in, it's magic.
It is
magic.
So, Haley, is it something you want to consider or what? Because
you're reading my mind.
You're literally doing it right now as we speak, like your podcast.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like, if I do this, it's a great thing to do from home, especially because, like, if you have nothing else to do, like, it's a great way to, like, not necessarily waste your time, but like I literally did not think that this thing would be my thing. I was like, yeah, it'll be fun. Like I'm ready to have like a conversation with these people. But I was like, I'm young though. Like I'm pretty young. Like they're gonna be like, oh, she's like young, like she can do it. But when I came on here, I was like, oh no. This is flowing, like this is good. And that's where I was like, and it was like, I don't think I would have been able to do it if you guys were like, I don't know, like if you were African or something. Like I felt like a connection with you guys. Like you guys just understood, like you just got me. It was like that connection, like it was already there. And that's where like my comfortability or comfortability or whatever the word is, that's where the comfort came in. And I was like, yeah, like this is actually like, I'm feeling good. I can do this. I'm ready to talk. And like the conversation just like kept going. And I was like getting intrigued more and more and hearing like your guys' opinions. Like, I'm super glad, Nathan, that you like came up with this like 4 sides. Like that was a great, like awesome idea just to like involve not only like the adult perspective, but like the youth perspective. Like that is like that's just like out of the box. Like I wouldn't have thought of that. Like I don't know, nobody else thought of it because nobody else did it. Like,
I got a million. I literally got a million ideas for Indigenous podcasting. It's just trying to find the right people that will actually, like Corrine says here, jumping in with 2 feet. Like it's tough because people don't like being on camera, and I get that, man. And yeah,
I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I have nothing to lose. I might as well. I have nothing better to do right now. And honestly, I probably should. So
yeah, both of you guys need to I'm gonna guilt shame you guys if you guys don't start a podcast. So I'm gonna be upset. So
man.
yeah, you both need to start a podcast. Yeah.
Times two.
Well, don't charge me if I ask for help.
Hey, never ever.
All right,
You know what?
Rachel, go ahead.
Me?
Yeah.
What? Oh,
You're
what's
starting
up?
a podcast. You're telling
Oh,
us
yeah.
about your
I
idea to start a podcast.
I am going to start a podcast. I'm just waiting to
Oh.
hear back from
Ah!
one
Oh,
person
no.
about it.
We can talk about it.
No, I don't really talk about it. Like it's not solidified, but it's in the energetic realm right now.
Yeah.
Hey,
Which is awesome.
But
And
I was gonna just like speak on what Raymond was saying about like those stories being told and those conversations that are being had, and how there's like it's like this authenticity thing, right? Like we feel like they're genuine, like you can be yourself when you're connecting with other Indigenous people, and you're like there's just this like non-verbal like agreement within I think Indigenous people that you just
When
like
you're like this, you walk by.
flow
you're
with
like,
it, you get it, you can
you
vibe
go
out,
like
you can
this.
joke around, you can like whatever. Like, I don't know. It's different because like it's true, and I even what Haley was saying, like I got a lot of multicultural like people in my life, but it still would just probably not vibe and flow as it does like personally with like more like with the group of Indigenous people kind of thing, right? Like there's a huge difference. Like if you've ever been interviewed by a non-Indigenous person, is different. It's different than like someone like Nathan like having you on his show and asking you, you know, to share your shit or like tell a story or like tell people about your business or something, right? As opposed to like a non-Indigenous person like asking you a bunch of questions. It's almost like you're like it's like performative almost. I feel like sometimes, or it has been in the past, but yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking about that when Raymond was talking about having the, you know, those authentic conversations with people. It's a good thing. You've really created something magnificent, Godfather, and I'm grateful for you. I'm gonna put tobacco down for you and everything today.
Hey.
drop it.
Let's.
Hey, we're through our time here.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just real quick. I do want to start an Elders one. I'm putting it out into the universe. So I'm going to start an Elders one where I'll produce it and put them on the screen. And man, that one would be really good. But yeah, we
Flash the Rocks podcast.
That'd be great.
yeah. Are we going to do a couple more here? We'll do a couple more.
Sure.
All right.
Let's get it going.
All right, let's go. Spin that wheel. And remember, you guys can call in 306-717-5395.
DJ, spin that wheel. Spin that wheel. Spin that wheel.
I'm changing the song tomorrow.
Oh,
I want to talk about paranormal activity. Next one.
paranormal would have been a
What
good
does
one.
that say? Public Enemy?
No, guys, it said paranormal.
Did it?
Did it?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Paranormal activity. Let's
It's
go with
a-
it.
What did it say?
I'm glitching right now, guys. It said
Yes.
paranormal. Okay.
Which
All right. Oh, I got to change it. Am I doing? You got that, Raymond? You got
Yeah,
the.
I got this one.
All right. Paranormal activity, you guys. This is probably the second last topic we're going to talk about here.
Someone call in with ghost stories.
Yeah. You
tell
guys,
us your stories.
if you guys
Okay,
717-5395,
I got a fucking story about
let's
this.
hear it.
Go.
All right.
Oh, first of all,
Oh,
there-
this
aliens
okay.
are real. Aliens are
Oh,
real.
that's yes.
Ah.
We're sitting here together, are we not? Okay, so I have this sister who had this house, and I'm not gonna like I don't know how to share this with not too many details, but anyways, Kate. In short, her house was like completely. I don't like the word haunted. There was spiritual activity there, okay, but there's in a negative heavy sense. So that I would consider like more of like a like, you know, like somebody that was like kind of stuck between realms. Anyways, so she was like always really tired. She was exhausted all the time. She had terrible sleep. She just couldn't you know, just like had a lot going on. And there was a spirit in her house, and it was like an aggressive spirit. And he like, you know, like was really not, I can't say controlling because it was a spirit, but like he did things like that would like she'd have a boyfriend or something, and then he'd like show up in his dream and like just like really wild shit. Anyways, fast forward, she goes on that show called The Other Side, and they come to her house and they film it, and they like were like really ready to clear her house and like get like figure out who's there. But she had already known like who this spirit, like the spirit was. His name was Richard, I believe. I think she knew that before. I can't remember. Anyways, so the spirit in their house, and they ended up like going downstairs in the basement. And in the basement, it was like dirt, right? And like concrete and dirt. There was an old picture of this lady that used to live in the house, and what she figured out through like a sequence of dreams and like spiritual work and whatever else of her other people that stayed in her home that had dreams was that a woman was murdered by her boyfriend in the 70s. And what happened was he was the guy that lived in that house, and the person that was the woman that was murdered, her family found out and went back to the house to confront the guy, and they ended up killing him. And like he was like pushing him down the stairs or some shit like that. So he died in the house, and that's why he like never left. He was still there. So anyways, fast forward, and this really possessive spirit with my friend, like my sister, like whatever, they go down in the basement and they find this picture in a frame. And it's this woman, and it was like the woman from the dream. And on the back of the picture was the name Dawn. And that's my sister's name. It was like so fucking trippy. But anyway, yeah. So anyways, but he's like gone now. He's not in her house anymore. They like took care of him and sent, you know, he went to the light kind of thing. But, and she's got like, there's like, he would like throw plates like in the kitchen and shit. And there's like, I don't know, she's got spirits with her all the time. And I'm just like, leave your friends at home, man. They're
That's
coming to me.
scary.
Man, I just thought of another podcast idea while we are talking about it. Is like Red stories, like there's always stories about scary shit happening on the reserve, because I got one. This is what I heard from my aunties. So, you know, there's this road on a reserve that, I don't know, on our side of the reserve, I guess, that it's kind of just going to go up a hill. But anyway, my auntie said when they were young, probably like 14, 15, and they were walking, and then it was at night, and then they said, and they stick to this story, remind you, it's not like bullshit, we were kidding all this time. They stick to this one. They said they were walking at night, walking under, and you know, it's freaky as shit when you're walking alone at night on the reserve, man. Like, I don't care who you are, it's freaky, man. It's scary. And so they were walking, and then this car started coming down, like just flying down the road, and stopped. It was like one of them old school, like literally boomer back in the 1920s, 30s cars. You know those Model Ts or whatever they are?
Yeah.
Anyway, those nice ones.
I remember.
And they said that it stopped, and this really handsome guy stopped and looked at them and then said, "Hey, you guys want to ride?" And back in the day, it was kind of, I guess they were thinking it was safe, so
Back
they
in
looked
the
at
day.
each other. Yeah, and back in the day, so they looked at each other and they didn't know what to do because they're young and they're like, okay. So they said they opened the door, and when they opened the door, like they said, you couldn't really see too much below, but they said they were just blown away by how handsome this guy was. That's all they could say, how handsome he was. And then they got in, and then he said, "Where are you going?" And no, they're going to my mom's, which is my cookum. And it was just down the road, but it was difficult to walk. So they're driving there, and then they didn't know what to do. They're quiet, and then they said they looked down, and they looked in there. They seen his feet, and there was hooves on his feet, and they just froze. And to this day, they still stick to this story. This is not like a bullshit story. This is what they stick to. And then they got out, and that guy just drove away. They thanked him for the ride, and he was gone.
What the heck?
I don't believe in ghosts.
Yeah. And there's
Who's
other-
the hooves?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I don't know. You'd think it would probably be the devil. I guess I don't mean.
Right, because half man, half horse, or something like that.
I guess so. I don't know.
My scariest story was in the res. It was in the res.
What is it then?
Well,
Yeah, don't leave us on a cliffhanger like that. Tell us the dang story. What the heck?
Raymond won't even listen because he doesn't believe in them.
This one time on the Reds.
Yeah, this one time on the res though.
There you
It
go.
was-
Podcast or podcast title. This one time on the res.
On a real deadly weekend. Just wait, I gotta prepare for this.
Ooh, it's gonna be a good one. I get.
Okay. I gotta curl my toes. Anyways, so it was me, my sister, and my two buddies that lived up the road. We were all having a sleepover. And it was just us girls because, I don't know where everyone was, but it was just us girls in the house. And of course, I'm the youngest out of the bunch. So they of course, messed with me because I'm the youngest kid. And we were downstairs in the basement. And we're playing and stuff. And then in our basement, though, it was like the floor wasn't done. It was concrete and just I don't know, some sort of thin layer just to make it look, kind of good. And we were staying down there because it was super, super hot upstairs. And it was cold on our feet. And it had to have been I would say 12 a.m., 1 a.m. No, maybe later, 1 a.m. in the morning. And we were all sitting down there. And it was we were about to turn off the light because we were going to go back upstairs. And out of nowhere, there was rocks coming down the stairs. Just rocks coming down the stairs. And we were like, what the heck? And we all ran to the corner. We're we all saw that, right? We all heard that. Yeah. And we're all scared. And we're like, holy crap. What do we do? I think I was I don't know, had to have been 7 or 6. And they're like, Haley, go run up there and go turn on the lights. And I'm like, you guys are 14, 13. Why don't you go do it? Why am I making you do it? And we're all get this. We're all whispering, you go do it. Go do it. And we're all waiting.
No.
He started getting aggressive. Hey, started pushing me. I'm like, no, leaning back. And then it happened again. More rocks started coming down, and I was like, maybe it's the mice or something. But no, pure
That's
darkness.
pretty strong mice if they're throwing rocks down the stairs.
And then you know what I did? I closed my eyes. And they just ran up those stairs, just ran, and they left me. They left me there all alone. I was like, no. And I just ran and I took off and I was like, holy crap. We all slammed the doors into our rooms and we were all shaking because we're so terrified. What the heck was that? That is freaking terrifying. Let's go to bed. I'm ready to sleep now.
That's
I've never had anything like that happen to me before. so that's why
Imagine
I
just
don't
seeing
believe it.
rocks just go down the stairs like.
Yeah.
No, I've
Raymond, you're
never.
a believer?
No, I don't. I believe there's spirits out there. Like I've never had a spirit bother me or like come into my space, thankfully.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be completely afraid of that. But as for like ghosts or like paranormal occurrences, I've never had one, and I don't think that they're anything out of the ordinary for myself personally. Part of the reason too that I don't like to acknowledge it is because I don't like to let it in. Right. So it might be something that I don't want to explore as a person. So I choose to believe that that's not real. For instance, let's say I was sitting here and I seen a cup fall off the drawer up top of there. I would just put that up to a random occurrence. I wouldn't think that there was something there, right? I don't let it enter my mind. So that way it doesn't bother me, because I've seen people that have, gotten trauma or are scared of things, or things bother them because of situations like that, or like the dark or stuff like that. So yeah, I just don't really let that come into my, like I said, I know there's spirits out there, and there's animal spirits, there's people spirits, there's people that are wandering or that are in this world with us that we can't necessarily see. But as for ghosts or like any type of paranormal activity, I just choose not to believe or let it in.
Not even aliens.
I believe that we are foolish to think that we are the only life form out of this entire planet or wherever we're at. I honestly believe that we're so minuscule that it doesn't even matter. Like there's other planets out there that are more populated than we are, and we don't even know about them and how can we know? So
have you guys seen that video? Yeah. Sorry, Raymond, have you guys ever seen that video? There's 2 videos the government just released during this freaking COVID shit that said, okay, aliens are real, and then they showed the spaceship.
False flags.
Huh?
I said false flags, probably.
What is that? But they showed the alien ship like flying, but they said it was just at the speed of sound and it wasn't super fast. Yeah. Like they showed 2 of them.
You know what I think is that the aliens have like saw us and how we live in our planet, and they're like, yeah, that's not even worth like going to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like
those names are probably right, man. Eh?
Yeah. They're like, bro, I'm not going to Earth, man. Look at the way these people live and act, and they're gonna burn the whole thing down in 100 years anyway. So what's the point in visiting? There's probably way cooler places to go to.
I believe that they're here. And they've been here for a while. And, there's people that resonate with that experience, coming from different star planets and different places like Arcturians and Pleiadians and, being starseeds and things like that. And that's why when people are talk about the GFL or the Galactic Federation of Light, it's because there are people that are coming, like in that place of like coming out and saying, like, this is what I've known since I was a child. And if you felt like kind of like a black sheep in your family, an outcast, or like just always wondered like why you're in the family that you're in, those are like pretty big indications that you are probably a starseed. But also like if you've ever had like a deep, deep feeling of like wanting to go home, knowing that this isn't like really your home. Those are also other like kind of feelings that people like that people want to say aliens. But what happens is people like these beings come with a different frequency. They come with different frequency codes and energetic codes when you come into your body, right? Because we can't see them beings in the body.
Or we can't see that they're different, or we can't see them at all.
No, they're embodied in a human body.
Oh, okay.
They just have different frequency code. They just have different blueprints. They came with different energy frequency. Okay, Bailey, I told people actually talk about this shit because it's like I love it.
I would, and I would watch this
people
shit.
Eat this stuff up, man, and I would listen to because Well,
I
those-
mean, I wasn't gonna like actually disclose this out of being like cautious for my someone's calling.
it's Virginia or whatever her name is again.
Okay.
Hi.
Hello, Nathan. Is this Nathan?
Yes, it is. Tell me you got it.
Nathan, is it possible you have time for one more call?
Yeah. Yeah. Go.
We got you.
Hello, Nathan. Hello, everyone. I
Hi.
just wanted to say that on the topic of paranormal activity, I believe that orbs are a form of paranormal activity, and I just wanted to quickly share with you. I lived next door to the most beautiful neighbors you could ever wish for ever in your life. They were an absolute blessing and a treasure to live next door to. The time came for when they had to move away, and a few days after they moved away, they were gone. Their physical presence just wasn't there. And I'm a person, I'm afraid of the dark. I always sleep with the lights on because I know if I sleep with the lights off, the spirits are going to come. And so my neighbors, their beautiful positive energy and blessings, whatever, were no longer there. And so my son was sleeping, and then I turned all the lights off. I thought, okay, Victoria, just go to bed. Just try to get some sleep. All of a sudden, the lights are all off, and then it came from the kitchen towards my next door neighbor's apartment. It was an orb, and it was, in the old fashioned days, the perfect shaped circles of the copper penny. It was an absolute perfect shaped circle of that copper penny, and it was like a hazy gray, and it went from my kitchen towards my neighbor's apartment, and I knew it was there because even though the lights were off, there was this silver orb. It floated like right across towards my neighbor's apartment. And so I got up and I looked out my window and nothing was there. You would think it was maybe like a vehicle or rays from a vehicle or something like that. And so I got up, I looked outside, and nothing was there. And so that's my paranormal activity with experience with orbs. And I believe in orbs. I have not seen. That was the only orb that I ever seen, and I have not seen that orb since. So thank you for taking my call, and thank you for this wonderful topic, Nathan. You're doing a very good job.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you
the
for
story.
sharing.
That was
Thank
good.
you,
Awesome.
Nathan.
Thank you.
Thank
Scary. Sorry.
Talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
You know what?
And there, man. That was good. That
That's
was
cool.
yeah, the orb thing.
That's interesting.
And because you always hear it when people say they take a picture and they see like an orb sometimes in the picture there. It's like that's God or something.
We got one more topic time.
I
I
don't.
think
I
we're,
don't
we're,
I
oh,
don't
go ahead.
think that like personally, like I think like you'll see something if you want to see it. Like if you want to see it, it'll show up. And
Yeah.
like if you're not trying to see it and you do see something or like you hear something, I think it's like trying to tell you something. Like they're trying to get a message across to you. Like
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I don't
Totally.
Everyone bases their shit off scary movies. And it's like, when you see a bad spirit or whatever, it's always bad. But,
Mhm.
what if it is always good and they are trying to tell you something? That's a good way to put it.
That's what
That's
I
why I don't think I've ever been bothered because I think they just respect my space and I respect their space. I don't go looking for things like that or like playing around or trying to taunt or anything like that. And that's why I feel like I get left alone, but I just don't allow it. But are we going to jump to one more topic? We got what time? I think our time went out like 5 minutes ago. I didn't even stop us,
yeah.
but that was dope. One more.
Sure.
Don't acknowledge those demons. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Or they'll throw rocks
But
at you.
also, sorry. Also, if you feel Syrian or Arcturian or Pleiadian, just look for books on it. You'll know. You'll always know because you'll resonate with something. You'll feel it within you, deep deep. Just
That
putting
sounds
that
like
out there.
That sounds like the Fifth Element stuff.
That's
We're
dope,
spinning.
Rachel. For real.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that stuff.
No problem.
Millennium Radio. Where do we go? Oh, Rec Life, Urban Life.
Spin that wheel. Spin that wheel.
We kind of did that,
That wheel.
Think we
Yeah,
did?
we kind of already did that with light skinned natives.
and then resi stuff.
Yeah, we've been
one.
Do you want
talking
to
a
spin
lot.
again? We can spin
Pick
again.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Should
go
we
ahead.
pick one? Wait, yeah.
We could. The
We said
Matrix.
that. We said yesterday we were going to talk about mental health. We didn't do that.
Okay, let's end it off with mental health. That's actually good. We're gonna end it off with mental health.
But don't
And,
make it too sad.
Yeah, Raymond, switch that topic there.
Sorry, I got you.
All right, you guys. Mental health is the last topic of the night, and as we know, we're in shit times right now. However, where you look at it, a lot of us are being told to stay home. Some of us have lost somebody to COVID, and a lot of people are just staying in, and that's being a big burden on our mental health. But I think something like this is when we talk, and having people call in, it's a good way to let go and maybe to help you, I guess, in your mental health. But right now, I'm just rambling. I'm thinking about something else, so I need someone to take over this because I got something.
I can go first just because I want to get my stuff out of the way and then hear everyone else. So one thing that I think is very important, and especially as men, is that we have to start normalizing taking our mental health seriously, because we have certain ideas about what we need to be as men, and we need to be strong, and we don't need to talk about our feelings, and we need to act and be a certain way. And I think that needs to really just get the fuck out of our ideals, because it took me a long time too to even kind of start to come to terms with my mental health and things that I had thought, and how I was dealing with a lot of things as a man. And thankfully I had a very good teacher. My father would always show me that it was okay to cry. It was okay to love somebody. It was okay to show, physical affection. Like, to this day, my dad still gives me a hug and like a kiss on the head. You know what I mean? And that's not like him being any type of way. That's my dad showing me that he loves me, and for us to be able to share that with each other and share love with each other and share, like just good things, that comes down to this idea that, like I said, we need to be strong, and we need to get rid of that. We need to talk about our feelings. We need to normalize that men go through mental health too, that we have issues that we don't talk about, that we need to start speaking about. And it's okay, man. And I encourage any man out there to go try it. Try speaking with somebody, an elder. Try to go to a therapist. Try to get some healthy coping mechanisms in your life, and don't be afraid to do that, and reach out, man. I think it's the coolest thing ever when some of my homies hit me up in the DMs and they're like, "Hey bro, I'm going through something right now." Like, there's some people that aren't understanding, or they're clowning me, but they know that I understand and I get it, and I've been there, and I'm working through it still. But so I would say, on the topic of mental health, as a man, as an Indigenous man, we got to normalize our feelings and heal, man, because, for too long we haven't, and you see where it's gotten us. So that's my take on mental. I don't want to take up any more time.
You're very right.
I'm getting
Well-
that the men had to. The men have to speak up about our emotions and stuff. Is that what I was getting?
Oh yeah. Just like, just normalize it. Normalize being not okay, or not strong, or showing affection, or crying, or whatever it needs to be. That will only help your mental health.
Yep.
It will only make you stronger and a better person.
Well, if he ain't right, he ain't right. Just kidding. No, honestly.
That's jokes.
That's funny. I love it.
No, I totally agree with that though. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I am a mental health advocate. Like, I literally am ambassador of hope. Like, I am so passionate about mental health because it is so, so important. Like, everybody experiences it at least once in their lifetime, whether it's like really, really like hard or if it's like a long process. Like, it's just like everyone goes through it and it has to be acknowledged. Like, it's so important. And especially right now with COVID and how people are, you know, in our houses right now, in quarantine, whatnot, like focusing on your mental health right now is super, super important. Like, we cannot ignore our feelings and our emotions right now during these times. Like, we do not ever want to have another suicide in our community. We don't want to see another loss, like especially our Indigenous people. Like, we need to stay strong. We need to stay connected and talk and like communicate, because we can't forget about those other people that are going through something. Even if they're quiet, they're probably going through something, and it's important that we acknowledge that. And like what Raymond was saying, like how we should normalize like boys going through or men going through mental health. Like, personally for me, like I was already like dealing with anxiety and depression when I was like 10 to 12 years old, because in that age zone, I felt like nobody could really understand me because I was not really feeling like a kid, but I was not old enough to be known as like a teenager. So I was stuck in the middle. I was like basically a preteen, but everybody thought I was a kid. So I felt really stuck because I felt like nobody could understand me. And that's why I think like focusing on those kids is like really important, because you know, like a lot of them are quiet. And I personally, like I have little siblings and I know that they go through something. And that's why I'm always constantly acknowledging that, you know, if you're going through something, like I'm here to talk to you. If you need someone to talk to, like I'm here to listen for you. And it's just like, it's not only older people, it's like these young kids too. And like in my, like for my age too, like we had some harsh suicides, and it was like the hardest thing for our community, and it was so upsetting. And I think a lot of people realize that it was not only girls that had mental health issues, mental health problems, like going through these things. It was the men, and we were ignoring them because we think they're so strong, and we think that they always have to hide their feelings when they shouldn't, and they don't, because they feel exactly how girls feel, how women feel. And it's like, we can't ignore that, because they can't always be looked at as the strong people. Like, they shouldn't have to hide how they really feel. You know, showing that soft side, like nobody's going to look at you differently if you're showing that soft side to you. And I don't know. I think like so many people are willing to help you. Like, you just have to trust yourself and like reach out and get help if you're going through something. Like, there's so many people out there that would be willing to help you and like help you get some coping mechanisms and like everything like that. Like, mental health is so important, and we just have to recognize that everybody goes through it.
Awesome. Thank you, Haley.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Let's see. I think like I think it's difficult to talk about mental health without including the emotional and spiritual and physical aspects that go along with it. I just, in my own experience, you know, I've suffered from extreme anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, ideation, all of that. And what I found, wait.
Sorry.
That's a call.
We're going to take our calls. Hi, you're live on
This is Bailey Bird. I was just actually watching you guys on Facebook Live.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are talking about mental health, and I'm actually in school for Indigenous social work right now through the First Nations University.
That's right. I got my degree. Awesome.
The term that I was just in talked a lot about mental health, and I noticed in one of the comments that I read, it said something about us not knowing how to show affection and stuff like that, or not learning how to do that. And that's something that I agree with, because I talked about this in class one time. talking something about like how men need to learn how to bring out their feelings, like Raymond and Haley were mentioning, and I agree with that 100%. And the one thing that came up to me, sorry, I'm a little nervous. I'm
That's
on
all right.
live.
It's all
Too
right.
cool.
You're all good, Bailey.
Yeah.
The one thing that came up to me was us not knowing how to show affection, because residential schools and the 60 scoop, that kind of like limited our parents and our grandparents from learning and passing down the affection and stuff like that, right? And that was hard for me growing up. Like, I didn't know how to do that because my parents, they did and they didn't at the same time, right? And neither did my grandparents. Like, whenever, like, say I'm hanging out with my friends and then they're kind of so used to saying I love you, bye to their parents or something, or to their friends, and I wasn't used to that. And it took so long for me to get used to doing something like that, especially like with just people that are so close with me. Now I opened up to it, and it's like the most amazing feeling ever, is being able to share that affection with people. It makes you feel like more content, I guess you can say. I don't know. It's just kind of my take on mental health. I thought I'd bring that up because I saw it in the comments.
No, thank
true.
you for your perspective there. It's always good to hear what everyone else is thinking about. You know, like mental health is, like
Yeah.
you said, is a big one. And yes, residential school does play a huge part, and the 60s scoop and day school of like how us indigenous people are today. And you know, but at the same time, you know, we're all like these young people. Like, look, Raymond and I don't know how old you are, Bailey. You're probably what?
I'm 21.
Yeah, so your guys' generation, you guys are getting it, man. You guys are getting it. Like, you guys are like that point now where it's like, okay, enough of this shit, man. This is what's got to happen. These are the changes that need to be done, and you guys are getting it, which is good to hear, man. So I mean, you know, yeah.
But let me get in on that really quickly, because we do have a lot of people that are more open-minded and understanding and know where we need to go. But we also have the highest suicide rates in all of that we've ever had, right? We have more youth dying than we've ever had in before. And not to say that there's a specific reason for that per se. I don't have the answer for that. But there's a flip side to it as well too, to where we need to, for me, it comes down to like what Shanna's saying here in the comments, you know, like resources and places to go for these people and support that we need to give them, because, you know, we're dying at an exceptional rate, and that scares us younger people. But I don't know if it's scaring it's not scaring the people that are in power right now enough to make change and do something different and reinvent themselves and try the radical ideas that us youth are putting out, right? It's so there's a middle ground there that I don't know if we're going to bridge right away, and that's the scary thought.
Here's the thing, like, if our parents aren't showing us affection the way that, you know, like they should be, it's not even their fault. Like, we can't even blame them, right? Because it was their parents, the ones who were going to these residential schools, that couldn't even, you know, feel that love. Like, how do we expect them to give their kids affection when they didn't even have those parents to do that for them? And it's like, it's crazy, because a lot of people, when they're going through these things, personally for me, like when I was like really stuck in, you know, mental health and stuff, I got really, really like depressed, and it ruined me. I was doing things that I probably shouldn't have been doing. I know I shouldn't have been doing those things, and it ruined me. And a lot of people doubted me, but look, I'm here now, and I got out of it. And that's where everybody should get their hope is, you know what, you're not going to be stuck there forever. And there is hope. There is light at the end of the tunnel. Like, do not be stuck there. You know, like, it is hard to get out of there, but there is more and more. I'm seeing it every day. There's more and more awareness to mental health. So people are starting to bring awareness around this. Like, it's okay to, you know, to feel that way, to have those emotions, to have anxiety or, you know, like feel alone. Like it's okay. And it's important that we're acknowledging that, especially in our communities. Like we need, and I know for a fact, like we need more work towards this as well. Like having like resources for people, whether it's like hotlines, websites, podcasts, like anything, you know, podcasts, like it's so important. And, you know, if we do it now, we can totally fix this for the next generations. And we can honestly make life so much better if we just all work together, because mental health, everyone goes through it. We cannot ignore it. It is super, super delicate and fragile. And I'm sure it is triggering a lot of people, but it's something that needs to be talked about, whether you're a guy, whether you're a girl, anything. Like we cannot ignore that at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
I'll just say one more thing before I let you guys go, and then I'll go back to watching on Facebook. But I just want to say that I'm in my third year. I'm going to be done here in about a year and a half. And the one thing I took from it is like not being afraid to talk about it, and don't be afraid to hide your feelings, because in order to heal, you need to like feel your feelings. Cry if you want, get angry if you want, be happy if you want, do whatever you want and feel those emotions, because if you don't feel them, they're just going to build up inside of you and you're never going to let them out and heal, right?
Yeah.
I just thought I'd put my last little bit of input before I let you guys go.
Well,
Preach.
thank
you for sharing.
Peace,
Yeah, hi,
love,
hi.
and Bannock Grease.
Yeah, and thank you for tuning in, and we appreciate it. And awesome job of being at school and being almost done.
Thank you.
You're gonna enjoy
Thank
it.
you for letting me
Congrats on
put
that.
my input in.
Hey, Bailey, quick little thing here. You should start a podcast.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I was
let's go.
thinking about it. You guys are kind of making me wanna.
Hey,
I have so many things I want to talk about.
Get out.
there you go. Awesome. Well, thank you, Bailey.
Okay. Thank you. See you guys.
See you.
See later. Yeah, I just want to branch off of that a little bit, like the affection part. You know what Bailey was talking about. That is, so true. And then there's also the thing that people aren't taught how to think, right? So, which is a really big thing, because our thoughts and our emotions are linked, right? So when we think something, it triggers an emotion within us, and that gives us a feeling. And then it becomes a physical thing because we feel it in our body, right? Have you ever heard of Dr. Emoto?
No.
Okay, so he's this doctor, and he wrote this book, and I think it's called The Messages of Water. I'm not 100% sure. I'll find it. But anyways, he wrote this book because he did this experiment for a long time. He did this experiment where he took water, and it was distilled water, and he left it in a certain place, and it formed these beautiful crystals, like beautiful crystals. So because we're 70% water, right? Just like the earth, we're a reflection of the earth. And if you think about now, we're even more water because of the full moon. But what he did was he took this water and he did these experiments. And I did these with my children years ago. And you put water in these jars and you write on them, like, I love you. You're beautiful. You're amazing. You are enough. You are, you're valued. You're lovable. You're like whatever you want, right? And you place it in the jar, and then you do it again with another jar. But you write on there, I hate you. You suck. You're a loser. Like all these other more like negative things that people say to themselves, right? This is what I'm getting at when it comes to mental health. It's like really thinking about the thoughts that you're telling yourself. So anyways, when you do this experiment, what happens with the jars is the water forms these beautiful crystals. The water is beautiful. It's clear, and it's like, you can probably drink it. The other jar that has all of the things that you were saying to yourself that are like, self-deprecating and hateful and hurtful and just like, I don't just think they're not fucking true, but we tell these things to ourselves, right? Is full of like guck and mold, and like it's dark and it's musty looking. So think about that and what's happening to our minds and our bodies and our spirits when we're talking to ourselves about these things and we're thinking about these things, right? When it comes to mental health, a lot of it is like we think that we're our thoughts. We think that we're the things that we think about ourselves, but we're not. We're not our thoughts. So it's about stepping to the side and like almost like taking off your mind and your brain and putting it over here and just looking at it and observing the thoughts that you're having and starting to see what those are and pay attention if they're like, oh, I don't love myself and I hate, oh, I can't do anything right. I'm a failure. These things are affecting your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, and your physical health. And they all go together. There has to be a connection and a work to balance all of these. The reason why I have issues when it comes to like the solutions for mental health, like go to the doctor and you get a bunch of pills, you're only treating symptoms. You're only treating surface symptoms. You're not getting to the root as to why somebody is even experiencing the thing that they're experiencing in the first place. And we all know and understand that it's usually from some sort of trauma, right? And some sort of experience that they had. And what happens after that is that some people don't understand this, may not know this, is that when you have a traumatic experience or an event happen, that energy from that emotion stores in your body. It stores in the memory in your body, in your cells. So that's why when you want to work with mental health, you're only paying attention to like the mind part, the brain part. Oh, thinking this and like thinking that. But it's like, but you're also feeling like anxious. Your nervous system needs to rebalance. You need to find some stability and neutralize the chemicals that are being released in your brain every time you hit fucking fight and fight mode. That's when you want to start working on an energetic level with everything all encompassing, whether it's like tapping or energy work or going to a ceremony or, like sitting in a sauna, having a salt bath. Like you want to be able to see how you can do things in all of those aspects for yourself. If you're just focusing on like the only the like things you think and the negative things that you're thinking all the time, there's not going to be a lot of momentum into healing and moving forward from that. And I can say, like, as a testament, I recovered from severe anxiety, depression, without medication, without anything like that, by looking for different kinds of modalities that are natural, that are healing, that resonate with a more holistic aspect of that, right? And I think I'm not any different than anybody else. Anybody can do that. And if someone's like, no, you have this and diagnoses you with this and that and blah, blah, blah. Well, you also have the ability and the power to attach to that and to say like, oh, this is what I have. And this is now I'm limited and I can't do what I think I want to do because I have like, I'm depressed. It's about like getting to know yourself and getting into alignment, thinking, paying attention to your thoughts, paying attention to your feelings. So it's a big thing when it comes to mental health. I just think that there's a lot of really good things that are happening with it. A lot of people, in that way, but I mean, there's also a lot missing, right? So I don't know, but that's just my take on it.
No, that was really cool. I've never looked at it like from different perspectives like that, and I think it's cool to explore that and understand that a little bit more. And that actually, like, for somebody that's never even thought about that makes a ton of sense. And I could kind of agree with what you're saying and where it needs to go and your ideas on it. So thank you for sharing.
Here's the thing. We like to ignore the people that actually might be suffering with mental health. We only acknowledge like the people that look sad or have been telling you they're sad, but we forget about the people that might look happy, might be the smiley ones, might be the outgoing ones, the ones who are always making other people laugh. Those people, sometimes those people are going through the most crap. And we can't forget that. Like, I know personally, like, that was me. That was me. Like, I was the most smiliest, most happiest, most outgoing little girl. And in reality, I was going through something. And I know that there was a lot of suicides here in my community because of that, because we didn't even know that that kid or that student was going through something just because they were smiling, because they knew how to hide it. And that was the worst part, was that they could hide it like that. And it's scary. It's scary that somebody can hide their feelings like that. Like they feel like they need to, even though they're going through something, they're still willing to smile through it all. It's like, maybe it's like it's making them feel good because they know they're making other people feel good, but it's also like very sad. Like we like to ignore people that are actually like really happy, and we think that they're happy, but they're not. And it's like, we can't ignore that. So if you see somebody and they're like, oh, that's the most humble person, but like, really, like sometimes you have to ask those people if they're okay and if they're doing good, just to check up on them. Like, we can't just always ask the ones that are reaching out and that we do know of that are going through a tough time. Like, we have to remember that even the happiest people might be going through some tough times.
That is spot on, Haley. You're so right there, and we'd probably all of us have been through that, where a lot of people thought we were all okay, and we're all going through shit, man. Like, you're so right, because you've seen it in you've probably seen it around Facebook, that picture of all the people that passed away through suicide, all the stars, and they showed pictures of them like 2-3 days before, and they're all just happy, nothing, just normal, you'd think, right? And a few days later or whatever, they left. So you're so right. And people out there, you got to really, to everybody, like right from the young child to the oldest person, you gotta, if you think something's up, just ask them, be straight out, give them a hug, whatever you got to do. Just always ask. And that's why when I do my Chase the Ace, like at the beginning, I always give a shout out to the National Suicide Hotline, because we have to normalize that discussion and talking about it, that if shit's going on in with your head, man, you literally got to tell someone, you got to tell anybody. And I always leave the message out there that people can reach out to me, and my number's there, you guys, and that goes to whoever's watching this. If you guys need to shoot the shit, man, like, I am here. And I tell everyone, there's always someone. If you feel like you are not loved in any kind of way, remember that there's always someone out there that truly, truly, truly loves you, and you mean the world to them. And just reach out to them if you got to talk. Yeah. Yeah, man. Like, wow. This mental health is one whole podcast with it in itself. It could be in so many different ways. How to attack it, how to deal with it, how to this and that, right?
Yeah.
But right now we're generalizing it, which is good. And thank you for Bailey calling in that. And I know probably other people watching haven't watched it.
Shanna says so true.
Yeah. No, that could be, like you said, a whole podcast on itself.
Totally.
And I think there's more experts out there that are in better positions to communicate about this than us. But it's good that we are opening up the communication lines at our level, and to be able to kind of bridge the gap between that, right? So,
and that's the big thing. Is you guys do got to open up the communication lines, like just send a text out to someone, like, if just open it up, man, like, take it in now if you think that someone's going to laugh at you. But there's that one thing, is I'd rather hear you cry than going to cry at your funeral or something like that. I don't know, it's kind of morbid, but I mean, it's so true, right? Just open up to somebody. But I think we're going to end it there.
It's a good spot.
Breathe.
Yeah. With that, you guys, that is part 2 of 3 of the Four Sides podcast, and we are going live again for our final show, 7 p.m. on all our Facebooks, as you can see. And what a great time it was tonight. I loved how we just changed it on the spot for the part 2 episode here, where we had people calling in throughout the show, which was awesome. We thank you guys who was ever calling in all night. It was awesome to hear your guys' opinions. And thank you everyone that was commenting in the comments. That's fun too. We appreciate that, and thank you everyone that stayed. Hey, you're the real VIPs if you stayed right from the beginning to the end here. And
The real ones.
yeah, Korean, good show, awesome. Thank you for tuning in. Anything you guys want to say before we lock her up?
I'll go. Honestly, there's so much we could talk about, and we had some good stuff going there. Some super important and hard topics to talk about, but something that needs to be said. Thank you guys for listening and staying here, spending your night with us, sharing with us, commenting, whatever you're doing. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. We love hearing your input. Even for me, I love, using my voice and spreading my knowledge and voice out there. But thank you guys.
Reach.
I just want to say thanks again. This has been fun, and I know it's easy to just go off on talking about things, but I really like to provide ways to move through things for people. So if you are struggling with mental health and addictions and whatever else, and trying to find some balance, I just want to invite you to practice breathing, just even 3 times for 5 seconds in, hold it, and then release for 5 seconds. Even doing a simple exercise like that can really just help relax you and bring you back to the present moment and calm you down and kind of neutralize your body, your energy, your systems. So just an idea. I think it's really important for people to stop and to be present and to breathe right now. And we're isolated. There's things happening, but breathing is the number one thing. It's the most important. So I just wanted to put that out there. And if, Nathan has his phone number there. And if you want to email me and get in touch with me that way, you can. I'm open to that. I'm always open to connecting with people and, serving in any way I can, and just even to listen, talk to somebody, or listen if someone needs to talk. That's sacredflameservices@gmail.com. And so anyways, thanks for having me on tonight and holding space, everybody. I really enjoyed it, and sending you all lots of love.
Raymond.
Yeah, once again, man, I just want to say much love to everybody that tuned in here to this podcast, man. I'm starting to learn more about myself. I'm starting to learn more about my co-hosts here, man. They're all some amazing people. And sometimes we're not going to agree on things, or we're going to see something just a little bit differently, but it's awesome to get in a room with like-minded individuals that are just wanting to have conversations and learn more and understand each other. And I feel very at home here right now. I feel comfortable being able to speak on what's said on my mind. Sometimes you might not agree with what I have to say, and that's okay. I don't pretend that my words are truths. They're just what I like to say and how I feel about situations. One thing that I've been taught is to never be afraid to tell people how you're feeling, and tell them exactly what you mean, because that might scare some people, but that also might resonate with some other people. So I've never been afraid to do that, and I'm going to keep doing that. And I'm glad that I've had a space to come in and do that. Once again, just much love to everybody. Nathan, for doing this, man. Rachel, Haley, I'm amazed to just be in your guys' presence, let alone to be able to communicate with you guys. So much love, man. We'll see you guys tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Hopefully we're not running on Indian time, man. You know how we get down though. So
hopefully Haley's computer's rocking.
Maybe tomorrow.
All right, you guys, we'll see you tomorrow night. Thanks for joining part 2, and stay tuned for tomorrow for the last edition of
Peace.
Peace and love.